Good morning, everybody. Friday's here. You made it to the weekend. Dun, da, 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 da. Good morning, Simpiwe.
Good morning, Gareth. How are you?
Very, very good. Nice to see you again.
Yes.
Our ray of sunshine on a Friday. That's what we need. That's what we were missing. Well, we have a lot to talk about this morning. We also got some sport coming up later on with Ben, some guests popping in. It's going to be a good start to your weekend. Trust me on that one. And I found some stupid stuff on the internet that I feel we need to... Yeah.
Oh, great.
I always find... Yeah. The moment. Then we've got PDF malware on the rise and ad services, which are analyzing all kinds of information that generates the most clicks, and organizations should follow zero trust principles to protect themselves. Have you ever been caught by a PDF document?
No.
Because I just don't open any if they don't come from someone I know.
Yeah, boy, that's me as well.
That's the key, right? That's what you want to do.
Yes.
It says Frozen 3. That's the show this morning. I don't know what's happened. It's very bizarre. Trying to get Simpiwe back online here. Let me just see. What's going on here? Why do you think everything's just crashed? What's
The Wi-Fi just dropped.
Wi-Fi
Oh.
dropped?
No.
Ooh. Jesus. All right, Ryan's running around trying to sort things out. Someone says stream shedding. You got to admit these are clever.
Yes.
All right, so anyway, look. Why would you open something that someone sends you, especially when it says like invoice, but you've never done any work for those people?
Because people like people like being in people's business, and they always think, "Oh my gosh, I could make money."
Yeah, they think like someone somewhere is just waiting to pay you money for something you haven't done.
And that's where you get.
Yeah. Well, then you deserve it, right?
Like I definitely think so as well.
So Stefan says that the reason that our internet crashed is because someone opened up a dodgy PDF. Yeah, that's probably what it was. It's very, very bizarre.
Yeah, it's
And it happened
not very.
as we started the show. Well, see, we were talking about this, and we were talking about influencers. I've got a video to show you just now, which will show you what I mean when I talk about stupid influencers and how they can just switch you off these days. So you think you're a big deal because you've got millions of followers online. And then what happens is they decide that you are, I don't know, sharing porn or something
Yes,
on Twitter, and then they'll cancel you.
gone just like that.
You got it is what man's not Barry Roo.
Yes, he had like 2.3 million followers, and now he's
Gone.
gone.
There's
Just
no
because he was sharing explicit porn, I guess, because Twitter is known for porn.
more. Yeah, but why would they go after one? Because there's so much of it on Twitter.
Yeah, because I know his account as being a troll, right? So
I
he
see.
says problematic things anyway. So I think the porn was like, oh no.
Maybe
so-
someone reported him. That's usually what happens.
Yeah, but they
Someone
were like,
somewhere reports something. Oh, there we go. Simpi was back online. There
"Thank
she is.
you."
Thank goodness. Why would it suddenly? I mean, is it like a 6 o'clock sabotage?
Like,
Is that a thing
it's
that happens?
hating. It's hating.
Oh, Ryan,
It's hating on me.
figure that out. Anyway, all right. So just don't open stupid shit on the internet, and then you won't end up with stupid shit happening to you.
That is
on the
very
internet.
true.
That's it. And then people are talking about a big shift in the property market, which frankly is excellent news. The property market's been a disaster.
Is it going
time.
down? Can we finally
So
afford the houses?
Interest rates will be going down, which helps people to be able to afford property. Yeah, because I mean, you can also talk generationally, like millennials and Gen Z are saying, well, we've never been able to afford property because property's been outrageously and unreasonably expensive.
Mhm.
And now we finally want a chance to be able to enter the property market.
Yes.
I was talking to someone who I know who's in the property business yesterday, and she was saying, she thinks that they're going to drop interest rates there and that it'll make a lot more money liquid and people will want to go out and buy. And then what we need essentially is for it to turn into a buyer's market because it's been a seller's market for such a long time now.
Okay.
Sorry, it's been a buyer's market for such a long time now that they want it to become a seller's market.
Okay.
Because selling property, if you've got a bit of money around, you could have taken your pick over the last 5 to 10 years.
Okay.
So that's an interesting thing that's happening.
Yeah.
And on a Friday, we try not to get into too much political news because we do enough politics.
Yes, we do.
Really, honestly, from especially Tuesday and Thursday's shows, we've got Democracy 101 and the podcast party, and then we've got Burning Platform with Pumi. And I just feel like by Friday, the last thing you want to do is get into too much politics. But I did see this, and I think it's hilarious because it's linked to a story that's in the news this morning. So Fikile Mbalula was in Russia because, he's still got a hard-on for communism. So he posted this picture of him with some communists. It says here, this evening, our delegation from the ANC and SACP was hosted for dinner by the Communist Party of Russia leadership, led by Professor Vladimir Shubin and Comrade Vyacheslav, ahead of the Forum of Supporters of the Struggle Against Modern-Day Practices of Neocolonialism. Can you imagine what a horrible dinner that was?
Ugh.
First of all, what a boring, boring dinner. Second of all, what a shit name for it. The Forum of Supporters of the Struggle Against Modern-Day Practices of Neocolonialism. There's more ofs in there than there are plates on the table.
Sure.
And because it's communists, who do you think is paying for it?
Us, of course.
Because communists never pay for anything.
Oh, no.
That's why I don't allow them in my house. They steal things because they don't respect property rights and they can never pay for anything. If anyone who's listening to us has ever taken a communist out for lunch, dinner, or a coffee, you paid, right? Because the communist wouldn't have paid. So these assholes got together in Moscow, and Fikile puts the hashtag ANC at work. So he's come back with a bright idea. Do you know what it is?
How to steal money without getting caught?
Yeah, well, that's always in the ANC's wheelhouse. But this is an original one.
Oh,
Well,
okay.
he thinks it's original, like communism. So Fikile is back in the country, and he announces that they're going to open the first state-owned bank. And he thinks this is a big, positive move. Now, I know that there are a lot of South Africans who would vote for the ANC for various reasons. But I do also know that there are a lot of South Africans who we underestimate at our peril, people who are clever enough to know what to do with their money, even if they only have a little bit of it. And the one thing those people know for sure is you don't put that money in a bank that Fikile Mbalula thinks is a good idea, because it won't be there. Next Thursday, you'll be going there so you could buy money you could take out money at the ATM for groceries and you can go buy some stuff. There will be no money.
It's going to say card decline. And then you're like, but I have money. I have money, Chief. It's like, no, ma'am, your card just declined.
We've repossessed your money so that we can redistribute it to politicians.
Ooh. And I wonder how those interest rates are going to look like. The bank charges. I'm sure they're going to charge you R9.50
every time you draw money.
Oh, my word. I don't think it's
Dear comrade, it'll come up on the screen. Dear comrade, we're afraid that we've had to decline your request for some money.
Imagine how the parliament speeches are going to be like, because they never
the Central Planning Committee of the Politburo has decided that you should not have your own money.
Yeah, but they never let apartheid down. Now they're going to be like, yeah, we're the reason why you even shop at Woolworths. We're the reason why you even shop at Pick n Pay. Like, now they're going to be in our business unnecessarily. So, like, no, sir, I don't need you to know what I'm buying with my money. No.
Well, it's not surprising to me that they're going to be using the post offices as the branches. So, I mean, there's something
even
worse. So there's something that's already something is not working properly already, right? Now they're going to make it worse because those poor people at the post office who already can't make it work are now going to have to also deal with the bank. And they're thinking of a name, and they're going to go with the South African Post Office Bank.
Well, the pay of line should be system offline.
Mm. System is offline.
That is going to be the pay
How
of line.
sad is this? Anyway, I mean, look, in the list of shit ideas, this isn't even in the top 10. So, I mean, Fikile must be so impressed with himself. He's like, I had dinner with all those old commies, none of whom, by the way, are involved in anything to do with the levers of power in Russia anymore.
Mm-mm.
And there's nothing sadder than an old communist, because you see, an old communist really doesn't have any reason to be celebrated by their family. You know, like if you're a grandfather and you give your kids sweets, or you give them a R5 or whatever when they come to visit you, if you're an old granddad, then they're like, oh, we like going to granddad because he gives us stuff. But an old communist has nothing to give you.
He just wants to take. In fact, he's going to the kids where the
like,
sweets.
yeah.
Where the
See, you get communism straight away. So Sam says it's the National Embezzlement Bank, NEB.
I would not trust it.
It's
I
so
would
funny.
not.
It's just, I mean, you got to laugh, right? Anyway, Mfundo says, but you know they'll force citizens to use their bank. Maybe you'll only be able to withdraw your grant through them and your pension and operate it all with government contract. Well, they'll try, but you also know that anytime government have tried to do this, the private sector come in and say, actually, let us help you because you can't. And then people go with the private sector. It's like even our passports and our IDs at the moment, our driver's licenses.
Yes.
We must go to private institutions to get them done.
And it's been so much better.
Right.
Like doing things online has been a lifesaver.
So anyway, good luck. I mean, Fikile, shame. He's trying very hard to come up with new ideas. And he's also flying around to all his allies in the world to ask them for money so that he can get the ANC out of debt. So there are two reasons he's doing these trips. One is to just spend time with old communists.
I actually look forward to a time where they tell us one day, someday, we've paid back so much from the money we've borrowed. Because all my life, every year, we have borrowed this much, we have taken this much, we need this much. We have never ever spoken about we've paid back this much.
Well, we had, okay, so Simpiwe, this was before you were really like aware of it. But during the Mbeki years, we had a surplus. Do you know what that means?
Yes, so there was money.
There was more money than
around.
we like paid our bills, and we had some in the bank.
I've even forgotten about those years. Can you see? Can you see, Gareth? And I'm
They've
not that old.
They've traumatized you.
I'd love to go back to that era.
You only know what it is to owe money under this current government. Yeah, you only know how that feels.
Can they change that, please?
Yeah, but we don't want to talk politics all morning, so we won't. I can promise you that that's not what I want to talk about. Just one quick thing I noticed, and I said to Pumi yesterday, when the Bafana team came back from AFCON.
Oh, they're back.
They were all at the airport. Yeah, a few hundred people went to meet them. EFF, because they also come
Clearly
third.
I wasn't.
The EFF comes third after every election. So here's the AFCON. So they put up this the trophy, but someone put Africa the wrong way around. Now they're all sitting there. Someone should have just turned the trophy around.
Yeah,
it's not like they made the trophy wrong. It just needs to be turned around. It's little things like this that make us look silly. Right?
Yes.
It's like you wouldn't put the FIFA World Cup upside down in front of the people who've just won it. You know what I mean? I know it's not first. I know it's not first place. I know it's not second place. Nobody cares. But just turn it the right way around.
Yes, because usually they also write they're like third place.
Yes.
But you also want to see the writing.
Right. But someone is not doing their job there. I saw Danny Jordan pitched up there. What a horrible looking man he is. I mean, he really looks, every time I see him on TV, he looks worse than he's ever looked before. It's amazing. And some people end up age gracefully. He's aging disgracefully. Terrible. We've got a couple of things that I also wanted to show you. I drove home yesterday. Now, I need to understand this. Yonda actually sent me a message when I posted this on Instagram. I was driving behind this. There's a bus going to Zim or something. So I'm assuming Zim. And then it's attached to a trailer, or a trailer is attached to it. And on top of the trailer is just a whole lot of shit. Okay, like shit. There's no, I can't, let me zoom in on this for you quickly. It's a pile of shit. Look at all that shit. Okay, there's like drums that you would use for putting water or fuel or whatever, and there's a broken bicycle. There's chicken wire. There looks like just containers, empty containers full of stuff. I'm not even sure what half of that is, but look at the state of that trailer. Like the sides of it are basically opening up. It's gonna fall apart at any minute. And this thing is driving in the middle lane on the highway, N1, at 40 kilometers an hour.
Oh.
So if you look at the first picture, you'll see there's another truck overtaking it on the fast lane. Because this thing is so
much.
And this is going all the way to Zim. There are people in that poor bus. I mean, poor people in that bus, let's say, who now have to go. They got to look forward to like a 49-hour journey or whatever in this horrible rubbish bus. And with all that shit is strapped to the roof, and God knows what's inside the trailer if that stuff's on top. You got to ask, like, what is that going to be valuable somewhere? I mean, who's gathering this stuff? It's like garbage, right?
Are they going to take it to the scrapyard or
What
something?
are they doing with it? It's like, what rubbish and garbage is that on top of that truck? Anybody know? I would love to know. Yonder says what they do is what he told me on Instagram last night when I posted it. He's like, nah, what happens is people get this stuff for free when they see it's been thrown out, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then they gather it up. But because no one in this country wants it, they put it on buses and trucks and trailers, and they send it up to Zim. And then someone there will buy it. So
just recycle.
But who wants that? Like, how bad are things in Zim if you want to buy that rubbish? You saw what's on top there, right? I drove past this thing. And because everything was so slow, I could take a picture.
Yeah, you see, that's my issue. It was the truck overtaking. Like, you see, when I'm on the highway and that happens, I just get so mad. It's like, can we just have a lane dedicated to buses and trucks, and it's on the slow lane, and they're not allowed to be on the fast lane at all? Like, ever. I don't care what the circumstances are.
No, there's no reason, right?
Because, yeah, see, that just makes me mad, because now we must all move at 40. And
have you seen the Metro Police sometimes pull these guys over because they've got so much stuff strapped to the car or the truck?
I get a bit happy when that happens. I'm like, Nazo.
but it's like, okay, so your bucky or your truck or your bus or whatever is 1/3 of, let's say it's 1/3 of the total height.
Yes.
Then you've got 2/3 of the stuff
just up there
with ropes and God knows how they put it on there.
Not seeing.
And sometimes the shit flies off as well.
Yes.
And you're like, and it's lying like this because it's at an angle. The back wheels are like
they can't take uphill.
Can't take any more. No, I mean
it's gonna
scrape. It's horrific.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
One man's shit's another man's treasure, says Wendy. That's right. And Honduras says they send tiles, kitchen equipment, and anything you can imagine back home.
Wow. Okay.
This happens every day. You haven't been to town in a while, says Snipes. Okay, well, you know things are getting bad, says Congo Chris, when Zimbabwean immigrants are heading back. Yeah, I mean, stuff. So I know this happens all the time, and I know this isn't rare. I just took a picture of it yesterday.
Yeah.
I thought, we need to talk about this because this is also one of the reasons that our roads are in such a mess.
Yes.
Because we've got these heavy vehicles full of heavy rubbish that are transporting this stuff for hundreds of kilometers.
Oh, yeah. There's nothing that stresses me more. Like, I can deal with trucks on the highway. It's when I see them like inland, and I'm just like,
and you have to go past them really close.
No.
Mm-mm.
No.
And you just know, like, if that truck loses control or
and
something
their bodies
falls
on the
off,
road, they just turn.
They don't
check. They don't do anything. So if that guy just is like, well, I'm going to the next lane and you're in the way, boo-boo, I hope you can accelerate because it's tickets for you.
David says the other day there was a fatal car accident where a mattress came off a car roof.
Oh, no.
Tell you what, you got to look out. Some crazy shit going on here.
Sure.
Nobody else will say it, so I will, says Carl. I don't think we should be celebrating Bafana. We're congratulating mediocrity. It's pathetic. If you ain't first, you're last. Well, we were excited while they were on their way up. We'll give that. You know, even on this show where we very cynical, even about Ben, who's
Mm.
on the show with us, we're still cynical about it. You know,
It took him winning a whole tournament for us
For
to
us
take
to-
him seriously.
that's exactly right. Okay, so this morning we're also going to meet someone who is in the top 50 fastest people in the world.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I mean he's even had better results than that.
Ooh.
But
Ooh.
listen, let me tell you, if I met someone in the top 100 fastest people, it would be cool.
I wouldn't be messing with that person. I won't be like,
Yeah.
let's go run.
Oh no, this guy will leave you in the dust. So he is like and the 100-meter sprint's the most exciting thing at the anybody watches any athletics
Yes.
championship Olympics event. It's always the 100 meters. No one
Yes.
cares about the 400 or the
It's
800.
a bit too long. It's just very long.
Yeah, no one's interested in those. So we'll find out all about that with our guest a little bit later on. Ben will be in with the sport just now.
Yay.
Got a lot of that to get to. And then a privately owned spacecraft headed for the moon has blasted off from Florida. So a privately owned one. The
Elon, is that
spacecraft.
you?
I don't think this is Elon's. It's called Odysseus,
Oh.
and its owner is Intuitive Machines. So it's a company, so it might just be a group of people rather than one. Has decided they'll make history as the first private company to land on the moon. That's very cool. All
That's
previous
dope.
landings have been by national space agencies. The robotic craft will attempt to land on the lunar surface's south pole, where scientists hope there could be some water.
Hmm.
Its journey to the moon should take about a week. So it's interesting, like even though the moon has been up there and we've got great telescopes and things, we still need to send something up there to find out if there's water or not, because we can't see below the surface. But
That's
for
interesting.
some reason, they think that the pole, just like our South Pole and North Pole, are covered in ice. I think the pole of the moon might be covered in some ice, or that there might be some ice underground. They're going to have a look at it. But you can imagine how much that costs. And it's great, though, that we are in a world where private enterprise can do what governments only were allowed to do before. So I think this could be good. And plus, we need something as a species to look forward to, right? Because it feels like humans are just stuck.
We've ruined Earth.
We've
you know?
we've got stuck. We know there's nowhere left to explore.
Yeah.
We've explored the North Pole, the South Pole, the oceans, the mountains, everywhere, the forests. There's very little for us to still explore. And if we don't explore, we just get boring.
Yeah. My only ask, just don't bring anything back when they go to the moon.
You've
Just-
watched too many of those
I
sci-fi
have watched
movies.
way too many where they take something and then they bring it back, and then it's that very thing that's going to kill each and every single one of us.
Mhm.
So please, just don't bring anything back. That's it.
Like an alien.
Mm.
Like it stows away on the spacecraft and then lands back on Earth. Lands back here and then hatches out of a shell or something. Like comes and kills us. Jesus, that's all we need. Can you imagine? Like that?
No.
Suddenly the ANC won't seem so bad.
Well, it said South Africa is like one of the safest countries during a war. So if there was a thing like that, I guess I'd be happy to be South African.
Now, famously, neither Simpiwe nor I nor Ben on a Friday really could talk about parenting. Although we criticize parents heavily because we feel like it's our responsibility to do that.
Yes.
Especially shitty parents, and there are a lot of those in our opinion. So, Simpiwe has found out that there are some parents who ask teachers to help them when their children behave badly outside of school.
Yes.
So these are parents that are not only shitty at parenting, but they now are so
Ow.
shitty at parenting that they want the teachers to help them discipline their horrible children outside of school. To me, the answer is a straight up no.
Okay.
Why would the teacher accept responsibilities over and above what already your kid's behavior shouldn't be your teacher's problem? If the kid's behaving badly, it's a parent thing, don't you think?
I don't know. So the reason why I asked this question, I saw a TikTok video of a teacher who was venting. This was a straight up vent. She's like, you won't believe there's this parent who just came in and it's like, my child is a little demon at home, but seems to respect you, right? So I'm here to ask you to help me with the kid outside of school. And the teacher was just like, oh, hell no, I'm not going to do that. Who do you think I am? I'm no social worker. I'm no psychologist.
Mm,
Don't come at me, right?
I'm with that.
And people were up in arms. A lot of people were like, well, you're a teacher. And I guess this is also part of being a teacher and the job of being a teacher, helping kids. And even though this is outside the parameters of work, you know, you can have a very positive impact on the kid. And I was also thinking, I was like, I mean, you have every right to say no, but I think it would be beneficial if you do help out.
You're a much nicer person than surprise, surprise. Everybody knew that already. I hate this. I hate this because think about it. Every teacher sees hundreds of kids a day.
Sure.
Now, they probably even have their own kids
Yes.
back home.
Yes.
Now, these teachers are expected to also help and discipline kids outside of school.
Well, I think teachers do that already. Like, I think of like there's 2 teachers who've had a massive impact on me as a human being and as an adult. And if it wasn't for them going slightly above and beyond, I don't think I'd be like the Sims I am today. Like, teachers play a
let's
vital.
thank the teachers.
Yes.
You've turned out all right.
Yeah. And I'm just saying, most of the time we complain about teachers being problematic or parents being problematic and not wanting to take the teacher's side. I think this is a good, like, I think she should take it like with like a bit of honor that like
these teachers are so busy already. I don't mean to be horrible, but my God, they got a lot of work. And now they must take care of other people's stupid and badly behaved kids. It's enough.
I think it's just part of the job.
Yeah, no, we are piling so much work on these poor teachers. I don't think that it's fair, and they can't handle it anymore. You're right. Look who's here. Ben's arrived. He's in his VP. You're in your old VP rugby jersey, hey, Ben?
Oh, yeah. Lekker, huh?
Wait, is that new? Because it looks...
Yeah, it is new.
Okay,
There's a company that makes...
But it's like an old...
Yeah, it's like heavy, nice cotton, proper jersey.
Okay.
But today you used to actually play it, you know?
We used to have like a school rugby jersey like that. Not in those colors, but yeah.
So it's
VP.
It's a lekker VP.
What do you think of teachers having to look after kids outside of school?
I think it's selfish. You know,
shitty parenting.
It's shitty parenting. It's just
there's no sympathy here. Sympathy was just like, oh,
I'm just saying, if the parent has identified that their little kid is a demon outside of school, but seems to be well behaved during school hours, come on now. It's only logical to go to the source and be like, man, there's something you're doing right and I'm doing wrong. Teach me thy ways.
Okay, so that's a different slant. Then I don't think a parent's going to be that socially engaged to do that. They're just going to go take this little shit away from me and you must deal with it. If a parent wants to actually go like, teach me, master, teach me, then cool.
I don't know any parents.
And even then just like you're tutoring for maths or science or biology, you're tutoring for less shittery.
Well,
and then you get paid for that.
I also want to add another layer to this because I don't think it's as simple as that either. If the teacher did a shitty job and the teacher made one mistake, those parents would climb into them.
Absolutely.
Right? No, I'm not going to take teachers' sides here because I normally wouldn't stand up for I think we got a lot of really rubbish teachers. Most of them belong to SAD too. And, you know, they're the ones who are impregnating schoolgirls and God knows what else. But if teachers do put a foot wrong, everybody climbs into them. And you'd expect that because they're meant to be delivering a professional service.
Yeah.
So if a teacher is a shitty teacher and they do a really bad job, then everybody's all over them. Fine. But nobody is all over the parent when the child comes out badly. And Ben has gone so far as to say that if parents are responsible for a child's bad behavior and the child is criminally charged with something, the parents should also go to jail.
Absolutely.
They did this, they did this in America the other day. Like 2 weeks ago, a mother was found guilty alongside her son, who was a school shooter, because she and her husband bought him a gun.
Good.
And despite all of his very obvious signs of not being a balanced, sane individual, the parents did not intervene in a positive way to make the situation any better. So they said your negligence. In fact, you can't even just call it negligence. There's actual malice aforethought there because they bought this horrible child a gun. So they've sentenced the parents. Now, I don't think there's enough jail space in the world for us to put the children and the bad parents away. Most 3/4 of the population. will
Everyone
probably
could
be in
just
jail.
scooch up a little bit.
But imagine, Ben, if everybody whose kid was a drug dealer or a shoplifter or a rioter or a carjacker, if all of those parents also had to go to jail, there'd be more people in the jail than out.
So I'm not seeing the problem though. I'm really not. Just think the root of every
You just think
crime,
like El Salvador. we
The-
just-
the root of every crime is a bad person. Who creates bad people? People.
Mhm.
Find those people responsible for these things. Don't say, "Oh, people who make guns, they're the worst," or bombs are so bad. No, just
It's like McDonald's makes you fat. It's not. That's not true. It's you.
it's you.
It's you.
But
So
if
you're
you're
looking for
trying to
ultimate responsibility.
rectify that. That's all I'm saying. If you're trying to rectify, you can see that this child is a demon child, and we need to put an end to it. Come on now.
Put a stake through its heart if it's a demon child.
But that's the parents' journey to walk, Simpiwe. They must put the stake in that kid's
But
heart.
it-
They must do it.
Whatever happens, it takes a village to raise a
No,
child.
the
That's
village.
bullshit.
The village also
You know what
has
that
things
is?
to do.
You know what that is?
It's
That is
lazy.
that is people who are abdicating responsibility rather than taking responsibility.
Those are people who like to drink every night. No, village. I'm things to do. No, you do
Here,
it.
village. Some old gogo in the town has to look after everyone's children because
Sorry,
they're
but
all
like-
quizzing at the tavern.
Unfortunately, the village also has to raise crops. The village has to work on sanitation. The
Yeah.
Yeah,
village
you
has
put
to
the kids
create
to work.
jobs.
Delegation.
Come
Yeah.
on, just raise my kid business. As you can see, because I don't want to raise my own kids, therefore I haven't had kids. I don't want to raise anyone else's kids. Cause
No,
Okay.
don't give me your children to
Okay, I
raise. I'm not
see where
interested.
you two stand on this.
No, but if
it's-
you're such a miracle, kids, birth of life and stuff, well, keep cherishing that until the day you die. Don't just go, okay, now I'm over it. It's not a puppy for
No.
Christmas.
All right. Well,
Yeah,
I've
this
saved
is my
this.
impartial view.
I've saved this for both of you for this morning. So this irritated me so much that I sent it to Ben yesterday, and I said we've got to talk about this on the show. So Simpiwe, I'm letting you have a surprise first view of this
Okay.
morning.
Ooh.
So I put up this video. We were talking the other day about how stupid videos are. This is from my Instagram, but I shared this from, is it the Freedom Agenda? So this chick, I don't know what her role in this is, because it's actually a video of Margaret Thatcher talking about economic policy.
Mhm.
Margaret Thatcher's got some very sensible things to say on the left of the frame. She's in there and she's going, well, we think it's tremendously important, whatever she's saying.
Mhm.
And then there's this chick on the right who just reacts in the video. She's
Okay.
she's going like this, smiling and nodding her head. That's all she does. She doesn't say anything. She doesn't add, there's no text added to it. She's just there, taking up exactly the same amount of space as Margaret Thatcher. Now, I know you're laughing because you think that I'm stupid. And maybe I am. That's why I have to bring
I
this.
so desperately want to hear your take on this.
Yeah. Because I asked Ben and he came up with a really shit.
I came up with the right
explanation.
answer, which Simpy will confirm.
It's the worst explanation. I don't buy it for a second. So people are calling this woman on the right a content creator. All she's doing is she's taking a Margaret Thatcher speech, which she didn't make. She wasn't even alive at the time the speech was made.
Mhm.
She's found it on YouTube. It's not even as if she had to go and dig through archive footage
Sure.
and process it into digital form. She found this on YouTube.
Okay.
She puts it up and then she's palming it off as if she had something to do with making this great content. Okay. That's fine if you just did that you shared, hey, here's a great video of someone saying something sensible.
Mhm.
Perfect. Why does she have to be on the screen with Margaret Thatcher? While Margaret Thatcher's talking, why does she have to be going, and nodding? Why is she there? I need to know why she's there.
Ben, I'd like to get your take
No,
first.
No.
You got to give your shit explanation.
Yeah.
Simpy first, because she's more in touch with whoever this person is.
Yeah, but I
nodding
just
at.
want to hear you.
No, because Gareth knows what I gave Gareth an answer,
Oh,
not something
worst
that I
answer.
agree with.
The
I
worst
gave him
answer.
an answer in the context of what I think it's about. So please, you do share.
Okay, why do you think she's there? What are these reaction videos, and how can you pass that off as content? You're not doing anything but sitting there going,
But she
which is what
finds
everyone who's
it.
watching it is doing.
But she finds it.
Yeah.
So we could argue that you wouldn't have seen that video if she didn't react to it.
But why doesn't she just share the video?
It wouldn't have gotten much reach. And the thing is,
So
right?
it goes further if she's in it.
Well, not
And
her,
why?
but it's like
You see, you're
seeing
playing right
someone-
into Ben's hand. This is the almost the explanation he gave me yesterday. I feel like such an old man when I hear this, but go on.
Sometimes you just hate the truth, Gareth.
Yeah,
You just
but
hate
it's the fact that you could remember the fact that she was reacting to it, that she was nodding.
No, it occurred to me afterwards. 'Cause
Okay,
I
cool.
listened to there's not even audio of her.
Yeah,
It's
she's
just
not
nodding.
she's not taking away from the original content, right? All she's doing is giving it a thumbs up, or if she had disagreed with whatever.
But
was
I
said in
don't
the
care
video,
about her.
that. Doesn't matter.
I don't want her taking up space that isn't hers. She has not come up with anything original.
But she found the content.
But I'm sure someone else would have and just shared the video
We
instead of
don't
having
know
to-
that.
Why
That's
put
hence why
themselves-
she's a content creator. She found the content. She went out looking for the video and she found it. And through her reaction, she was able to reach a whole lot of more people than the original video did.
So, Simpy, what you're saying is, in the content creator's mind, let me caveat that, Cliff, because now you think I'm supporting this bent and this head nodding exercise. She's doing it in order to add relevance to an old thing.
Yes, but it could even be like weird things or things that, I mean, I did not know I would love Hoove content and just finding that out. But someone put that out there and then someone reacted to it. I saw it and then I went down the rabbit hole.
Someone of a similar demographic
Yes.
age. Well, that's what it is, Cliff. Is that this?
So it's getting much more bigger reach than what the original video would have gotten.
If
All
you
right.
were to
So you
understand,
both. So you. This is why you guys know this stuff better than me.
If you were
it's
to
a good
under-
explanation, but I hate it.
if you were to understand this, it would be worrying.
I agree with you. I hate videos like this, right? I really, really do. I don't like them. I think it's lazy.
Gareth, I think you
It's a
should make
lazy way of
videos like
making
this.
content.
You
But
think
at
I
the-
should make videos like this.
But it is of making content. She sat down and she decided to react or not react. She's better. She's nodding. I've seen videos where people are just like, I'm like, why are you there? Like, why are you just sulking?
Gareth,
Do
you
something.
You should take videos like
We've
Judy-
been doing this stuff on the show for years, but it's not about my reaction
No,
to it. It's
this is where you're
like
wrong.
me showing it to the audience.
This is an untapped level here for you, Gareth. You should take a political videos like Julius Malema with snollies all over his face, and you must just sit there and go
okay.
and soft nod.
So it's like a reaction
It's-
YouTube channel.
Every week on a
That's it.
Friday, I want to
There's
see
people
a
who
1
have
minute
channels
soft
like
nod.
that.
Yeah.
Like the
Gareth Cliff
entire
reacts.
channel is based off other people's content and they react to it, be it music video, be it embarrassing viral videos on TikTok, be it dancing videos. They just react and they're like, oh, that was a good video, or that sucked, and that's it.
Which brings us to the next segment of the show. What else can Cliff Central do? And this week we discussed Gareth making reaction videos.
We come up with so many good business ideas on this Friday
This
show.
is
We-
it. Gareth, you
honestly,
got it viral.
if there's anyone out there who's got no ideas, but they've got the desire to execute, we've given you on a silver platter 1,000 different things. So here's another one.
If you,
A React
I
channel.
reckon you could get 2 million views a week across platforms if you take the latest fuckery in politics and you just nod and then you smile or you make like stupid faces. There it is.
Done.
And that's all I did on Idols for years. I
But
suppose.
exactly.
Yeah.
And look at this, Gareth. You wake up every single day into these lights. You try to act like smart and you research and you're you.
Yeah.
When
What
you,
a stupid waste of
you
time.
could just
All
be
I have to do
nodding.
is sit there and pull a face.
You could just be nodding at whatever News 24 wants to cough up onto their feed.
You're right. I'm an idiot. See? We would come back to the same conclusion anyway.
We'll all get there in the end, Gareth.
I'm the moron. Thanks, guys. Thank
Okay, Ryan. So please get Gareth
Oh
clips
my
on a
God.
Thursday. Send it to him,
you. No, no,
and
this
then
is
you
what we
can
do.
Not do the show. He's just going to put a minute
Yeah,
of him
we'll
nodding.
react.
Yeah.
Speaking of like social media, I saw this yesterday. Instagram was the most deleted app in 2023.
Of course.
I find that very strange.
I'm not
Stimpira
surprised.
says she's not surprised, so you go first.
It's just it copies other apps and it's lost its originality. It's lost like the essence of why I was on Instagram in the first place. You're not seeing content of your the people that you follow. It's very like TikTok-y. It's very everything but Instagram. So yeah, it's what's the point of having an Instagram account if you have a TikTok account, if you have a Twitter account? It's
Now, I'll believe this if Facebook was the most deleted app of 2022.
oh no, our parents are still on Facebook.
I always forget that.
Yeah, yes. Facebook is aging out,
Yes.
but it's still relevant to people who are 50, 60.
Yes.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
They love it, actually.
Mm.
I mean, I still have Facebook. I use it for like birthdays and things because birthdays. If I say happy birthday to people, it's just a way of, even though I don't speak to them the whole of the year, it's like keeping in contact.
Yes.
Mhm.
So it's useful,
Mm.
especially if it's people you've done business with, or you haven't seen for many years, they live overseas,
Or
whatever.
especially for you, because you know hundreds of people,
Right.
and thousands of people want to
And
know
then
you.
people are, and sometimes I'll look at when I'm wishing someone a happy birthday, I'll look at the messages and it's just like my happy birthdays for the last 4 years. Then I obviously delete the person because then it's pointless.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if it's the only thing I've done in 4 years, at least I'm still making contact. So I try. It's a way to.
You've reacted.
But as a result of being on there at all, I've reacted. That's exactly right, Ben. But as a result of being on there at all, what I have seen is that it really is an old people's paradise.
Yes,
They
it
like
is.
sharing baby pictures
Oh,
and
my word.
grandparents,
Yeah, and
grandchildren.
it's not so offensive on the eyes.
No.
Instagram is like raping your eyeballs with half-naked women and fight scenes and all kinds of other shit that they think you want to see.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like you said the word. It's got a bit TikTok-y.
Yeah.
Like
And
everything, and
Last thing you
TikTok
wanna
is
be.
pure cancer. Like it's
So-
just absolute cancer. I know that there are lots of people who listen to us who are on TikTok all the time, but I mean, we sometimes play a TikTok video that someone has sent on Instagram or on WhatsApp or whatever. So
yes.
I'll still get the stuff, and I think good content will find a way,
Yes.
regardless of what platform it originates on. But it's just I'm in no hurry to get on this. Sam says recently a local TikTok of a woman climbing through her window where her breasts got exposed went viral. Now she has a contract from some bra company. Yes, I saw that. Again, something that was sent around on WhatsApp. So this woman she's a British woman, unattractive, pasty, you know,
Probably
the kind.
just back from the pub.
Just back from pub with her friend. Can't get into house. So what she does is she climbs through a window, but it's one of those it's not that narrow because she's quite big.
I'm amazed she got in. Yeah.
She gets in and then she tumbles over
Sure.
and her titties fall out
Sure.
and they're long. And she's dangling on the other side laughing. I mean, to her credit, at least she's laughing. She realizes how ridiculous
Well,
it
it's
is.
not that she was
And
laughing.
someone's filmed it.
The friend was really laughing. The woman falling was in distress. I mean, she was an overweight woman whose head was pointing towards the ground
Oh, my word.
after 4 snake bites and a packet of pork scratchings, and she was not in a good place.
Has anyone seen the trend of Redditors using AI to put clothes back on scantily clad women? The trend is called Dignif AI. Dignify.
Ooh.
How clever is that? How funny is that? Oh, apparently that woman in the video where she falls through the window also peed on herself. So great, like lots of dignity.
That I didn't know.
That's hilarious. Now it's extra funny.
Sure.
Now it's extra funny. All right, so Ben is going to Vic Falls for the first time.
Oh, I'm so excited about this. Yeah.
When are you going?
Tomorrow. Sorry. I'm so excited. I'm saying tomorrow. Next Thursday.
Very good.
Next Thursday, flying out there. It's like just under 2 hours to get there.
That's quick. Faster
yeah.
than Cape Town.
You know, by reading all these Wilbur Smith books the last 3 years and just my general love of history and just to go somewhere else in Africa, like I've been to 4 or 5 other countries in the continent and I know it's so close and it's such a holiday kind of place. But
And that place is amazing.
yeah,
I went last year and I must tell you, it's like one of the best things I've done. And right now, I don't know how the rains have been, but my
apparently
God.
not so good, but I'm hoping that this week's just going to turn
If you
around.
see those falls with lots of water coming over there, you just like, I am so small.
Yeah.
You realize the majesty of nature.
So Daniela really loves waterfalls. Like it's one of her favorite things in the whole world. So to take her there is going to be quite amazing. And also just it's that, but then you got the bush setting as well, which is like my favorite thing in the whole world. So
Yeah,
it's
you get the best of everything, man.
it feels like the absolute location I've always wanted to go. And now this finally happening.
Very good.
So
I like this.
I'll be crossing over from there next week, Friday.
Ooh.
Great. I look forward to it.
Oh,
We will
nice.
be able to hear from Ben as it happens. All right, let's get to some spin because
Yes.
we've been putting this off, but there's lots to talk about. Let's go.
It really is. Yeah.
And this is Beyond the Scoreboard with Ben Karpinski. It's powered by Superbets.
So there's a lot of cricket happening right now after Test match varietal. And yesterday there was a glimmer of hope as I don't even know what to call this Proteas team that we've sent to New Zealand. Some people are calling them the second stringers, which I think is hugely flattering, considering there's about the 7th or 8th or the ninth choice of the person in these different roles. Of course,
Wow, that
all-
many. We have that many choices.
all of the best cricketers have been playing the SA20, which has concluded last Saturday with the Sunrisers winning, as I suggested. Hope you put money on that. So all the best cricketers are here, and now these other guys are having a bash, and they got absolutely drilled in the first test, as you would imagine. But they really fought back. They made a game of the second final test. But unfortunately, Kane Williamson is again at the crease and again scoring 100. So they're going to ease into this one. Dane Piet, who's bowled 30 overs in this. Dane Piet.
That's his name.
He's bowled 30 overs in the second inning.
4 letters name, 4 letters surname.
Yeah, his 5 letters in that. Piedt.
Oh, Piet.
So he's been bowling his heart out. He's got 3 for 85 at 30 overs. And that's all his hand's going to be. So they just need 16 runs at this stage, New Zealand, to win they'll win by 7 wickets because Will Young and Kane Williamson at the crease. There's other test match cricket on the go at the moment. India, you kind of felt like England got a lucky win in that first test because the second test, India had him. Third test now at Ranjkot. It's 346 for 7, Ranjkot.
Are you making these up?
No, this is where they're playing.
Really?
Yeah.
Ranjkot.
Dhruv Jal is
Where is
now
this? In India?
In India, yeah.
Sure.
Dhruv Jarel is on the crease, as is Rapichandran Ashwin.
Sound like the names of farms in the Free State when the oak just nails some sign to the gate. He's like, yeah, we're going to call our farm Ranjkot.
Well, that's kind of what England feel right now. They're in somewhere horrible because they are up against it. I don't think England are going to win this one. We can scoot right over to the Proteas women playing a one-off test match in Australia. Sounds exciting, isn't it? Well, it was until they took the field. They were bowled up for 76, and now the Aussie women, who are fierce competitors, hardened professionals, seasoned veterans, they're at 355 for 5. Of course, we didn't have Marizanne Kapp for this game, who basically is the Jacques Kallis of women's cricket. So you can't take the field without your best player. I mean, she kind of counts for 3. No discredit to the other women.
What's her name again?
Marizanne Kapp. She's like a superstar in the game, but she fell ill. So imagine, you're playing against the Aussies who are going to thrash you because it's test cricket, okay? So they can be competitive in the shorter formats of the game, but you're going to play a test against these women, they're probably going to drill you. And then your best player is not taking the field.
Yeah.
I, for one, would not feel great about that. And unfortunately, they haven't stood up because they're getting clapped with the ball and they got clapped. Moving on, it's big rugby this weekend. Really be this weekend because the URC is back. So the URC is the United Rugby Championship, of course. And it's quite an interesting sort of breakdown of the pools because Ireland has 4 teams. South Africa has 4 teams. Wales has 4 teams. And then Scotland has 2 and Italy have 2. So that's the mix.
Okay.
And all of the things I just said now create little pools. So the South African pool, you play against your opponents home and away. Okay. Same with the Irish and the Welsh, and then the Scots and Italy, that's their pool. And then outside of that, you play every other team once on a rotational basis. So it might be home, might be away. So we've gone through the first half of this, and Leinster are currently on top, the Irish team, which is really good for them, followed by Benetton. The Bulls are the best SA team right now, 4th place, and then the Stormers are at 7th. Now, both of those teams are still in the Investec Champions Cup, which is the real big deal. That's like the Champions League of rugby. And with the URC, want to finish in the top 8 so you can go play in the Champions Cup the next year. If you don't, you play in this other Challenge Cup, I think it's called, which currently the Sharks and the Lions are grabbing around in.
Right.
Speaking of the Sharks and the Lions are currently 10th, but they're only 1 point away from the promotion zone, so like the qualification zone of 8th. And the Sharks, well, they've been the shittest team in this thing. They are currently 16th place out of 16 teams.
How did that happen? The Sharks used to be good, Ben. Am I wrong?
Not even just used to be good. They actually had a resurgence and a new identity and a fresh truckload of international talent coming through. And we're talking like the best of the best.
Who spoilt this? Who can we blame?
I'm not sure. Like it's people will
we like to blame someone.
I like to obviously make real hot takes that probably have very little substance, but they don't seem to have any sort of cohesive unit that is going to help them to adapt to European rugby. So there was a time when we just played the Sanzar stuff, right? So we'd jawl at home for a while, which was cool. And then we'd go to the right and we'd go play Australasian people. Yes. But there was like a chunk of time. Whereas now it's like a game of cricket where we're taking quick singles back and forth. We're going up, down, up, down, up, down to the Northern Hemisphere. And maybe these oaks don't like traveling with each other. Maybe they all snore
No, it could
and they
be.
just hate rooming with each other. Maybe the music on the team bus is a bit cuck. I don't know, because they just haven't been a cohesive unit with all these different travel demands.
Oh,
There's
fair
always
enough.
different dynamics within professional sport. I'm obviously probably making the wrong point here. And Sharks fans are going, oh, it's because of this. And maybe John Plumtree wasn't the guy to bring back to be the coach. Whatever it is, they, some people feel resurgent after doing well in the Challenge Cup that nobody watches. So they might win that, which is amazing. But, it's like Arsenal winning in Europe all those years. It's like, where are you winning, mate? Oh, Europa League. No one cares.
No one cares.
So they are currently on 9 points after 9 matches. The promotion zone currently is at 25 points. So they basically have to win every single game going forward here, while other teams maybe get scared of them. I don't know. Either way, this weekend, big fixtures to look out for there. Zebra versus Edinburgh at 9:35 tonight, as is the Scarlets versus Munster. Then Saturday, we've got Lions versus the Bulls. So it's a big derby in Ellis Park. If you feel confident with your life, maybe you can have a thrash through Ellis Park and watch that one. It is
when the zombies come out. That's
It is 3 o'clock, though. See, there's no night games at Ellis Park.
Yeah, but
There
it
shouldn't
starts
be.
at 3.
Yeah.
So it ends, the sun's going down. That's when the zombies come.
I know, but you've got about 45 minutes. I think it's safe.
Listen,
But
can we just talk about this for a
Final
second?
whistle.
And it's
to
people's-
sundown.
We're talking about people's lives here. Let's
I know,
not be
but-
glib.
Zombies
Gareth,
coming out.
I've just
No,
made,
Simpura,
I've just
you don't
made
know.
the point. I've just made the point that the Lions are only 1 point behind the top 8. They need support, right? So it's a give and take. This is the thing with sport. It's always a give and take. So
Simpura, you think we're kidding?
kickoff is at 3. By the time the game finishes around 5, knife crime only really kicks in
my
around
word.
7. So Lions fans, you've got that buffer. You've got the buffer with the early game. I think your team deserves it. If there was a 5 o'clock game, I would probably say watch it on TV. Not worth it.
Some people just go, fuck it. I'm just gonna take a chance.
Yeah.
I'm such a fan. I'm such a supporter.
This
I'm
is the
gonna
game.
live
Gareth.
dangerously.
This is the
If
game.
my team are prepared to take their life in their hands and face possible
They have
cranial
security.
possible cranial injuries as a result of being tackled too hard, then I can face some knife crime.
No, you can't. No, boo-boo.
Anyway, I told
No,
you.
sir, you ain't built
finish,
like that. No,
so if they finish top 8, they go to the Investec Champions Cup.
you ain't going to get that money. Put yourself first,
That-
okay?
your phone will be gone, your wallet,
Guys, you're focusing on the wrong thing
you'll
here.
lose a limb, maybe a finger if you try to fight the
Investec
guy.
Champions
Guess
Cup,
what?
you can make extra money. You play against the best teams. Everyone needs to make a bit of a sacrifice here. Okay, Lions versus Bulls,
I love
3
it,
o'clock.
so-
Just so people have some context, because there may be people in Dubai listening to us now going, what the hell are you talking
The
about?
reason they're in Dubai is because they fled Ellis Park.
Yeah, so Ellis Park is in, let's say it's a pretty scary part of town. The CBD is less scary than that. And really, they're these dark places that, Will Smith in that movie with the zombies. What was it? I'm Legend.
I'm Legend.
Okay, he goes out with the dog, and the dog goes because it can see the zombies hiding. And if you go out there during the day, that's what happens.
See, but the thing is, you can't
At night,
take an
They
Alsatian to
come.
Ellis Park.
no.
Maybe if we could, you'd probably get more fans there.
Mm.
Imagine this thing like tickets now $25, and you can bring your Alsatian.
Your
Packed.
Alsatian, half price if you bring your Alsatian.
All right,
Love
so
that
Lions
stuff.
fans, I think we put
All
it
right,
down for you there.
there we go.
Leinster will play Benetton. That's the top of the table clash at 5. If you do stay at home to watch the rugby, that's straight into it. That's another benefit. And then the big game in Durban is going to be Sharks versus the Stormers. Now, the Sharks have lost the last 5 matches to the Stormers. But this is the thing. They need to win, right? Because they're right at the bottom there. And the Stormers, well, they're in 7th. So they're not exactly like guaranteed to the playoffs. But you also want to finish higher up in the playoffs because then you get a chance of playing a home quarterfinal into a home semi-final. Then we've got Cardiff versus Connacht at 7:15. And then Glasgow Warriors will take on the Dragons at 9:35. And then Sunday, if you still want to watch more rugby, there is Ospreys versus Ulster.
It's a
at
lot of
5.
rugby.
It's a lot.
I think we're up to here.
So much
Is
rugby.
that why you're wearing the Veerpier? Are you supporting them against the Sharks, Stormers?
Absolutely.
That's
Yeah,
it.
like all in. Yeah.
Okay.
Because Stormers Western, it's still the same thing.
It's still the same thing.
The heart is still
Veerpier.
with the Dizer. All right, football. Obviously, PSL's back on because AFCON is now finished. AFCON took
Yes.
it would have seemed like 3 years, and
Yes.
it was basically the entire Sundowns team with a couple of other talented Oaks.
Yeah.
So they're back. And Sundowns are playing this Saturday at 8 o'clock, and they'll be playing against Pirates. Now, Pirates have won nothing other than their own contracts to play for quite some time now. But you've got to think with the Sundowns team, Are they going to be full strength? Are they going to be distracted? Are they going to be hungover? This might be a chance for Pirates to get an away draw here. Yeah, look at me getting so excited for Pirates. So that's 8 o'clock on Saturday. Then the Premier League, Liverpool are still on top, and they'll be away to Brentford at 2:30. Burnley will take on Arsenal, who hammered West Ham recently, which is hugely exciting. That will be at 5. Man City versus Chelsea at 7:30. And then Sunday, Luton will be hosting Man United at 6:30. 2 more big things for the weekend. It is really big for golf because it's the Genesis Open, and Tiger is returning.
Ooh.
That's always
You say that, but is it still a ooh moment
Well,
though?
he's the only
Gary Player still walks out on the field, and you're excited.
He's South Africa's greatest person. But Tiger has had more comebacks than. Let's try to keep it clean. Tiger's had a lot of comebacks, right? He goes away, comes back, and he's also so old now. He's like older than Gareth. What more does he really need to bring to this game? He's coming out with his own like merch line now, Sun Day Red, obviously with sun and day are 2 different words, where basically it's the old Schlesinger logo, but they've made it into like skeletal form, which is dodgy. So I know Tiger, look, all due respect to Gary Player and Jack Nicklaus, Tiger's the greatest to ever play golf because he changed the game and he was entertaining and he was also banging whores. And there's like a whole bunch about this guy that was interesting.
It's a lot of lifestyle and color.
People's person, exactly. And him keep coming back like this, he's just getting older. The golf's just getting younger. Like, it's cool. It's nice to have Tiger on, but like, the game's kind of moved on a bit. But if you still are the nostalgic Tiger person for many reasons, of which there are, and I'll never discredit that, Genesis Open. And then the Dimension Data Pro-Am is happening this weekend at the Sunshine Tour.
What is that?
I know, Simpu. I know how you looked at me with huge interest there. It's being played at the same course I'm going to become a world champion in 2 weeks' time.
Okay.
So that's it.
So you're going to be watching.
I'm going to be watching all the time. It's going to strain my relationship. But this weekend, Dimension Data Pro at Fan Court.
It's part of your prep.
It is part of my prep. I'm visually seeing what the pros are going to be doing on the 2 layouts that I'm playing on. But they'll also be playing on the links, which is Gary Player designed incredible international golf course.
Fantastic.
So that's on the Sunshine Tour. And then the big one, it is UFC 298 this weekend, which means that we have to wake up early again, like usual, but it'll be in Anaheim, California. So it's going to be a little bit later on the main card there. But just remember, as everyone learned when they first started watching UFC properly, when Drickus' title fight was, there's fights before the main ones. But the benefit of this one is there's none of these like women's fights that you got to act like you actually care about. They're proper, solid, toe-to-toe, absolute barnstormers here. We've got, starting out, okay, the main card. Let's just go with the last 4 fights, right? We've got Merab Dvalishvili versus Henry Cejudo. Huge fight because Merab hasn't ever wanted to fight against his friend Aljamain Sterling.
Just their names are
who
enough
was
for me to stick around. It sounds like an ancient war between.
It does.
You know, the steppe warriors of Mongol hordes.
It is. So pretty much like the greatest bantamweight champion of recent memory has been Aljamain Sterling, who was friends with Merab Dvalishvili. So Merab was like, well, I'll fight everyone except that oak. And Dana White's like, dude, you fight who you fight. Otherwise, get stuffed. So he's fighting Henry Cejudo, who used to be, he was an Olympic champion, a double-weight division champion in the UFC, but he's also a bit cooked in the head. And I think he's a bit delusional about where he is now. But he came out of retirement. He pulled the tiger. He came back in. Huge fight. Jeff Neal versus Ian Gary. Now, everyone thinks that Ian Gary's actually got a vagina because basically his wife runs his whole life. So there's a lot of banter and there's a lot of hate being thrown at him right now. Jeff Neal, nobody even knows who this guy is, but because everyone hates Ian Gary so much, they're all about Jeff Neal right now. So I want to see that fight. There's huge amounts on that. Then Robert Whittaker, who was basically everybody's like champion in the UFC. Everyone loved him. And then Drickus beat him. He's still much loved. He's taking on Paulo Costa, who's basically, I mean, this kid was dropped as a child or his mother drank a lot because he's not all there, but he's damn entertaining and he's built like a brick shit ass. And again, this guy was meant to be one of the greats of the sport. Israel Adesanya humbled him and he just went all over the place. Now, this oak's last few fights have just never happened because he just doesn't get to the octagon. But here it is. Whittaker versus Costa, major middleweight fights. And then featherweight, you got Alexander Volkanovski versus Ilia Topuria. Topuria is 14-0. So Oak's just charging, and he's such a monster, this guy. I mean, I say featherweight, they're quite small guys. Volkanovski, probably the pound-for-pound greatest fighter until he got smacked in the head by Islam Makhachev, and he's basically just been, he fell over. He got a kick to the head, and his whole career was now being put in the balance. He has to come back and avenge that. Topuria thinks he's going to run right through this Oak because he's the young upstart. UFC 298. There are 4 amazing fights. If you really love the sport, watch them all.
All right.
That is the weekend, and it's a big one.
Okay, there's a lot to chew on, and we are already just after 7 o'clock. So Superbets supports responsible gambling. You can get involved in any of these amazing sports that Ben has already spoken about. We've got a hell of a card this weekend, plenty on there. You can go along, place your bets. Superbets, of course, supports responsible gambling, which means no under 18s. Winners know when to stop. The South African Responsible Gambling Foundation's toll-free counseling hotline is 0800 006 008. And we'll be back for more in just a minute. Don't go anywhere. CliffCentral.com. It's Friday morning.
This week on the Auto Trader podcast
is another race that's coming up.
Oh, wait a minute. Is this in January?
This is in January, 5th to the 19th of January.
Are you going to Saudi?
I'm going to Saudi Arabia.
No, so you're going to Dakar. Dude,
Dakar!
I did Dakar in 2018.
Yeah.
I was in South America.
South American version.
I did Peru. Very similar in the Sea of Dunes, sand, off-roading nuts.
Catch us every Monday at 9 a.m. on YouTube and on autotrader.co.za.
We are live. It is a busy Friday morning. There's Ben. I thought you'd disappeared for a second. Look, your chair is empty. We didn't know where
Where's
Ben
Ben?
was. No, look, there's where Ben was, and here's where he is now.
Now you see him, now you don't.
All right, very good. So we are, man, it's Friday already. It feels like just 5 seconds since the week started. It's been bloody busy. But Ben tells me, among other things, that we've got so many comments on Ellis Park and rugby in Johannesburg and how you take your life in your hands.
Yeah.
So first of all, I just want to throw this in here. Ben has spent the last 12 minutes just making up names, place names, people's names. It's all made up.
Well, Carl, let's not go into my secret sauce here.
There are people who know intimately what happens in Ellis Park. So here we go. There's a campus, says Snipes, right next to Ellis Park. The poor kids never graduate because of the trauma.
Wow.
Doornfontein has some sneaky, freaky dungeons, says Sanele. And then Sanele goes on to say, I've got an artist friend who has an art studio in Ellis Park. Even the building is called Ellis House. I think he owes his success to fear. See? It's not, we're not making this up. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Guys.
then somebody says, "This is amazing. You're safe during the day with no cell phone or expensive clothes on. So you're okay if you don't have a phone or expensive clothes. So in other words, if you are lost and wandering without your phone and you're in shitty clothes that you've been wearing because you passed out 5 days
But
ago."
that's the trick with CBD in general. You need to walk as if you know where you're going.
Exactly.
Like, even if you don't know, just walk with a purpose. And
So
I
this
promise
morning we're
you, you'll
talking
make
survival
it.
skills. That's the whole
You
point
will
of this.
make it.
Okay, this is good. This is useful information. If you dare ask for directions or look at someone funny, you're dead.
Yes.
That's how I used to act to the Baron on the Main. Because if you ever looked around at those women, those old cougars, they would grab you. But if you always knew what you were doing, they sort of like gave you a bit of a wide berth. It is survival. Wherever you go, you feel threatened. Act confident.
Oh my God, it's unbelievable. All right, well,
am I coming across okay on this microphone?
yeah, you're fine.
I sound
Why,
tinny on these
but
headphones.
Don't need the headphones. Just
I
take
like the
them off.
headphones.
You like the headphones? All right. Well, do you need more volume there? Oh,
Can you
Jesus,
hear properly?
Jesus.
It's not too
There we
loud.
go
Where the
again.
trauma
Happens as always, yes. So, all right, Ben spent the week. Oh, I don't know how you managed this. You spent more than the week listening to radio, which is something I haven't done for ages.
Ooh, why would you do that to
Yeah,
yourself?
why?
Remember
Tell
last week
us.
we were talking about how podcasts are maybe feeling a bit too contrived nowadays, and
Yeah.
I'm struggling to actually get into podcasts, and I try to keep music for holiday purposes because I have like playlists.
Mhm.
So I found myself listening to Jacaranda.
Ooh,
Put it on.
Jacaranda FM.
The team of Martin and the rest are really nice people. You know, they're excitable at these things. And they've got this thing every week where they give away 50 grand if you can identify the sound.
Oh.
So the sound plays. I'm like, I know what that is. Obviously, it's from a song.
Okay.
And then the whole thing is you've got to enter a secret in your name, and then they'll maybe choose you because it's a random thing. But
Right.
I know that radio shows are not random.
No.
Mhm.
Of course they're not.
No.
So then this is like 10 days ago, right? And it's Whitney Houston's I Will Always Love You. Any moron who's ever listened to any music in the 90s will know this. There's a particular
You wouldn't just
saxophone
know it. It would
section.
be tattooed on the inside of your head because they played it every fucking day for 5 years in a row.
Great song. I knew it. I smessed my name and the right answer. I sat back. I waited for how this thing works, right? So now I'm listening to this entire show. And now it's going, okay, after 8 o'clock, we'll find out if we can give away 50,000 rand. So now I'm listening to the show. Someone else, ek dink it's Kenny G. Because, I mean, you play a saxophone to an Afrikaans person, Kenny G will smack them in the face. So I thought, okay, well, tomorrow I'll do it again. Sure, let's have a bash. So now I found myself listening to the show all the time, and my answer was not getting picked. All these stupid other cuck answers were getting picked. But now I'm so invested in this because I can't miss the thing.
And you started to believe you were going to win.
Well, obviously, because
I mean, 50 grand's not bad. It's a good payday.
I would like 50 grand this month. But now I'm so invested.
I would like 50 grand.
I'm so invested in this listening to the show right now because I need to know if there's going to be clues to validate the fact that I am right and I'm not missing the point, of which the clues started coming through. And I was like, oh, God, this is so obvious.
Mm.
And then they just kept, and then I had to listen.
And all these people, for how many days did they get it wrong?
It was probably 10 in total after submitting my first correct answer. And every morning I would then have to message the show. But now this is what I'm involved now. Because then I've got to listen to the wrong answer to understand that I've still got a chance the next day. And so it happens. I was locked into a Jacaranda vortex.
You couldn't escape.
I was stuck.
No.
I was absolutely stuck.
Imprisoned.
And then I thought, I know how this is working. It's a love song, right? So they're going to pick all these wrong answers. And then for a crescendo, they're going to pick the winner on Valentine's Day.
So it's so contrived.
I thought, you know what? Fair enough. I'm in for a penny, in for a pound. I'll keep sending my correct answer and I'll win on Valentine's Day. Valentine's Day happens.
But this also took some horrible producer on their side ignoring, there's that Ben again. Ignore.
But there's,
day after day, it must
I
have been
didn't think it was
exhausting.
that hard. I'm sure there were other answers. But anyway, so Valentine's Day comes. I think, okay, this is it. And then they bring up some oak on the line. He's like, I think it's George Michael, Careless Whisper. No, it's not. It's so now I'm getting angry. The fact that people now are just getting this so wrong was so easy. And then and then I thought, screw it, absolutely screw it. And then I kept listening, and then some other woman just got called in because they were desperate to give it away, and the woman got it.
But they ignored you.
They ignored me, and I'm actually like totally. I mean, it's a slight feint, but I had to listen to all of their ads. I had to listen to all of the show.
Was it horrible? I don't know what's happening on radio.
Radio's
going
magic,
on
right?
there?
It's just it's great.
Sure.
if you're into that kind of thing, but it was hard. And I came out of it scarred. It's slightly scarred. And yeah, that's my sad story. It's my cautionary tale of thinking that I could be a radio listener. Play a bit here, get into it.
And you didn't really feel like it was worth sticking around after the 10 days?
I stopped listening to radio at that moment.
All right, so it's back to podcasts.
But hey, the woman who won 50 grand, maybe she's drowning in Skilt, like one of the ads that they play every fucking day, that if you're drowning in Skilt, you phone these out.
Survived 10 days.
So
maybe it helped her.
maybe it helped her.
Sure.
That's
Shout out to
great.
you, Ben.
That's good.
Your pain tolerance is on an all-time high.
No, Congo Chris, I had the right answer from the start.
He knew the answer. All right, this is something I have to show you guys. Stupid shit off the internet. You know I love this. But this is scary stuff off the internet. This is someone filmed this somewhere in America, probably Florida, because all the really weird stuff comes out of Florida. Just watch this quickly. I will explain, because there's no audio. It's just something you have to see that is truly terrifying. Okay, so here it is. It's an alligator.
Oh, wow.
It is opening the bars of a fence and going through, but it's using its arms like a human would use its arms and crawling through the fence. And it gets through.
Wow.
It's an alligator. It pushes its way through there. It actually moves the bars with its arms and then gets through this fence, like a proper metal fence with, solid iron bars.
Wow.
That's a strong
That is
crocodile or
ridiculous.
alligator. It's definitely an alligator. So it was in America. Not something I want to see. I mean, I'm already not a big fan of lizards, right? And especially big ones like crocodiles.
Sorry, can I just go back to a message quickly here from Color?
Sure, go on. Ben, my wife says you're shit at listening to instructions. Don't answer on WhatsApp. You send your details and code, and they call you.
Yeah, no shit, Color. You know, I think I did that. And when did I say I was WhatsApping the show? I follow the directions, right? I said SMS secret. See, you were the problem as well, Color. And now you make out like I did the wrong thing. No, I was completely right.
Well, Sanella says, I want to point out that Gareth and 5FM Mornings show, the competitions were legit. I won twice in 6 months, about 12K the one time and 3K the other time. Gareth was an honorable radio man. Well,
There we go.
that's why you're still listening to us. You're hoping for some more cash.
Yes, you've been dreadful the last
He's hoping for more
9
cash.
years.
I'm not sending you any more cash.
Every time you listen, go, cool. They
Bribe.
got another competition.
But it's amazing like how they have to, because obviously someone's paying for the competition, right? There's like
I'll tell you who, Outsurance, because I message the show every day and I got a message back saying, do you want a free quote? It's like,
Drowning
I'm
in
already
Skilt.
with you guys.
Drowning in Skilt.
Skilt.
Okay. I'm terrified of that alligator. I needed
was
other
true.
people to share my pain. Now, here's another thing you have to share my pain on. Right, here's an
gotta-
influencer. We were talking about influencers earlier. Take a look at this one and read them and
What
weep.
do you know?
Okay, you ready?
You're a musician. But that's why I'm interviewing you today, so I can get to know you.
So I'm a musician. What the fuck that mean? Make magic or something? What is musician?
I think you're confusing that.
Yeah, I'm not no musician.
I-
I make music. I make
I-
music. And that's not all I do. I make music, I act. I'm a TV star too, a young mogul.
Just really quick, I think you're confusing.
I'm not confusing nothing because you don't know. You thought that all I was a magician or whatever the fuck you said.
See, that's what I think you think I said. I said
No,
musician,
think
not magician.
I don't think, baby.
But
I don't think. What is that? That's ghetto. I don't think. I know.
So you
Think.
I didn't say magician, Suki. I said musician. And I think you are a musician.
No, baby. I do music.
So you just really quick, for the record, could you say you don't think you're a musician?
I'm not none of that.
But then after that, you just said I do music.
Yeah, I do music.
So in other words,
Yeah.
you're a musician.
No, I'm not.
Okay.
What do
All right. This is just it hurts me. Physically hurts me to watch
be
someone
real.
that's stupid. Do you think they're putting it on?
Oh no, she's worse. Like
She's an actual person
yes,
and she's a musician. She keeps thinking
well, she's not-
musician is a magician.
Well, clearly she's not a musician, according to her. But there was an
She doesn't know what it is.
no. She's just a
What is that? No, I make music. with her long ass nails.
Oh, she's just
so much make. How did that person make any money? How did?
Can we just pray for her? Because
who is she?
she's this lady. I don't know her name, but I've seen other videos of her that have gone viral, right? And she seems like she was on one of these reality shows on America, and she gained popularity by being very outspoken about the fact that she loves going to Dubai and she likes getting the golden showers, and she just is into all of that. Like she's
Arabian
proud.
showers.
Yeah, like she's proud of it.
Oh,
and
her
she's
name
like,
is Hasuki Hana.
yeah, and
Ay,
like
ay,
people
ay.
were just like,
No,
girl,
no.
bad. Like, and she was just talking about it freely, and she was just like, oh yeah, that's my life, and that's how I make this money.
Well,
And now we see her. She's clearly not a musician
Frightening.
because
she is a rapper and reality star, as Simpiwe says. And she went on the dry humor roast or something. This is this.
we don't
this
need
show.
women like her in
Anyway,
society. Please pray for her.
Taken aback, she assured the host that she was not a musician and began a back and forth, which has now gone viral. You're a musician. That's why I'm interviewing you today to get to know you. She said, what the fuck? That make magic or something? Right? I'm not confusing nothing because y'all thought you said I was a magician or whatever the fuck you said. That's what she says. Anyway, she's got a song called Eating, which is not surprising. I say who I am, and that's a mogul, she said, after a repost of the clip. So she's trying to explain what happened here. She said she actually didn't know what the word was. So she thought that this woman was taking the piss out of her. It's just
No, we just don't need women like her in society. Can we please just get
people.
her banned?
Just
Like
anybody.
we, really
We just don't need to give them
in
a
general.
spotlight in
But why
society.
are average people like this able to become important? So that we're talking about her
The
this
same reason
morning.
that politicians have jobs, because they want to.
Nah, she just scared us. She just was just open about her business, and
Guys,
now we're all traumatized.
It's like you, Gareth,
Nah,
making
nah.
reaction videos. If you
I got to do that,
then
right?
You become
I got to make
famous.
reaction videos. Then finally I can.
Yes, because you want. But you don't want to, therefore you won't become famous like that.
All right. Well, I've got someone here who actually has achieved things, and I thought it'd be interesting to meet one of the fastest people in the world. Yeah. You interested, Ben?
Great title.
You ready? Simpiwe, you want to meet someone?
Yes.
Okay, here he is, but he's gone. He's gone. Wait,
Oh.
no, he's back. No, he's gone. No, wait, he's gone. No, he's so fast. Shit, we can't catch him. Our frame rate is too slow on the cameras. All right, so Tiaan Whelpton's here. He's a professional sprinter. He's actually based in New Zealand, but he's in South Africa. He grew up in South Africa, and he started at the age of 10 when you were playing with mud and shit like
Oh,
I
probably
would.
stones, you know.
Stones.
Victor.
Exactly. Me too. And he was running. He's one of the fastest people in the world. I mean, what? You're in the top 50 now, at
Yep.
least.
Yeah, that's correct.
Maybe
Top
even
50.
what? Top 40, top 30.
so
How far do we go down here? at the
Previous
moment?
world champs 2023 came 37th.
37th
Amazing.
fastest man in the world.
That's really quite something.
Yeah. So he could make it out of Ellis Park.
Well, exactly.
Just, yeah, as long as I don't have to run too far.
But that's that. I thought this was very cool. I got into a conversation with you the other day, and I thought this is such a discipline. It's such a focused thing, and you have to dedicate your entire life to this because you have one outcome, and that is to be fast. And it means you have to eat, you have to train, you have to sleep, you have to have the coach, you have to have the environment, you have to have the money, you have to have the sponsors, but everything's focused on you being fast.
Yeah, it's quite a weird thing. I've explained it to a lot of people like this. You know, we trained for 10 years to finally get to the Olympics, and then it's all over in 10 seconds. So it's quite an
incredible.
intense job. Yeah.
Yeah, it really is. But I
High
always,
stakes game.
it is. And that's what I was saying, because we had this conversation last week around people getting Olympic tattoos. And I was
Yeah.
saying that it's basically stolen valor if you're a golfer and you rock up and you get this. Because what you just described there proves my point.
Right.
Yeah.
It's all of this to try and get into that for, you know, it's actually the way I look at it, it's not even so much 10 seconds of your life. It is that 0.00, whatever the gun fires, because that's where you need to react. Once you're going propelling, your training and instinct just kicks in. But
You
you
do,
basically shit yourself when that gun goes, because all your training, if you miss that, as in you start a little bit too late, you're done. You start a little bit too early, you're done.
How does that
It's true.
work? Because I hadn't even thought of that. But that's obviously that's the advantage or the disadvantage that nobody really recognizes. It's like, how do you train yourself to know exactly what do you look at? Because you can't look at the gun, otherwise you're going to miss something too.
So one of the things I
What do you
like to
do?
do when I'm doing starts, we do quite a lot of start practice first of all. So when we're trying to do a lot of starts,
Again,
get used to that.
Illis Park could be helpful here with all the guys, you know?
Yeah, no, it could be great.
Anyway.
So yeah, we do a lot of start practice, and my thing that I always kind of like to do, and I always tell people I do, is instead of sitting there because you have to be up and ready in the set position waiting for the gun, I try not to wait for the noise. I try just to focus on looking at one spot on the floor, not thinking too much, and then it almost catches you by surprise. And I'm sure you've heard that a reflex is always quicker than a reaction.
Yeah.
So if you don't think about it and you don't wait for it and it just catches you by surprise like a real gunshot would, then you're normally out of the blocks a bit quicker. So that tends to be what I try to do.
But now, was the sound of guns basically what took you to New Zealand in the first place?
Yeah. Well, it's that among other things.
Okay.
But I have to say, it's New Zealand's an amazing country. It's a beautiful country, and I do love it there. But I do really miss the culture and especially the weather of South Africa.
Yeah, it's
But
terrible.
you're back here to visit and you come back often enough. You've got family and friends here and all the rest of it. So, I mean, it's great that you can be on their national team. Are the
Yes.
New Zealanders nice to you though?
Most of the time, yes, most of the time. So New Zealand's got some funny policies and selection standards and things.
And apparently
but,
hideously ugly women. You don't have to just wink if it's true.
no comment.
Blink once.
Just laugh nervously.
Just laugh nervously.
I think I'm probably biased because I'm come from South Africa, and I think we have notoriously beautiful women here. But
Well, I got into a
Yeah.
conversation last Saturday. You know, Roxy and her boyfriend Sam Barton. Sam's from New Zealand, right? So he and I got into this conversation, and I said to him, my best friend from high school went to go and live in New Zealand and studied in South Island, Dunedin, for a little while, which is really where, I mean, he just said there's just not one, like, even moderately attractive woman in the whole of Dunedin.
Especially on the south.
Yeah, no, he said I mean, he eventually ended up having to find a girlfriend in Canada, which is miles away across the Pacific. So desperate was he. But
It's literally the other side of the world.
I got into this conversation with Sam. He said to me, it's totally true. He said, I'll love my mum. I'll love her. She's fantastic. Fantastic. I love my mum. But all the other women are hideous. So that's his exact
Yeah,
word.
that's the thing. But hideous women make good mums, though.
Yeah, well, yes.
It's
That's
just
true.
suggest that because
Yeah.
that's all they focus on.
All right, so let's leave the New Zealand women alone for a second. Let's get back to the running.
Now that we've brushed past culture,
Yeah,
let's get back
right,
to
exactly. So your goal is to become the fastest New Zealander ever by going under 10.08 seconds.
that's correct. Yeah, that's the current standing New Zealand 100-meter record.
And
That's
guess how
actually
close he
great.
is to that, Simpiwe?
You probably like what, 11 point something?
No,
Point
much closer.
0.06 seconds is all he has to beat. Now it sounds like nothing. That's
Yeah,
that.
less
But
than a blink.
in that game, like 11's like if you're 11, they'll laugh you off right now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're not allowed in. You're not even in the top 1,000.
I mean, if
Yeah. So to put it into context, the best time I have run, legal time, is 10.14. I've run a windy 10.09, so that means that the wind from behind was too strong, so it didn't count legally. But
You're
yeah,
joking. So they actually measure the wind, and if it's too strong,
it's a thing.
I mean, in a sport where
Unbelievable.
0 point something of a second makes all the difference, all these factors get thrown into it.
I mean, if you ask me, the wind has a huge impact, and they allow up until anything under 2 meters a second. But the difference between running with no wind and 2 meters a second from behind is huge. You'd want to get a good tailwind. So, anything between 1.5 and 2 is a huge advantage for sure.
Now, how much does weight have to do with this? Because if you are a kilogram heavier, let's say you had a nice hearty breakfast that morning, that's not going to help you. That'll hinder you. But you also
Yes,
don't want to
yeah.
you don't want to have no energy. So how does that even work?
It's a bit of a balance. Obviously, we try to keep our skin folds and our fat percentage quite low, but you also don't want to be cutting too much or losing too much water weight like the UFC guys, because then you lose a bit of your power as well. And we can't do something like cut out carbs completely, which is a great diet for a normal person, and you will lose weight cutting out carbs, just eating meat. That's what my dad does, and it works perfectly well for him. But for me, I need those carbs because I need that energy, especially for training.
But also you're tall.
Yes.
And you
Does
want
that help as well? Like your height?
Yes,
you know.
yeah. No, it definitely does. I'd be lying if I said it's not a huge advantage. The way I like to explain it to people is, if you think of the way my legs move as a circle, being tall is like having a bigger gear on a bicycle. So if you have a smaller gear, you can pedal as fast as you want. The guy with the bigger gear, as long as he's moving along nicely.
short oaks. And obviously, you know,
but I mean, at the same time, if you look at like Maurice Green, Johan Blake, if you look through the years like that, there's been shorter guys who are just built like they just looked like battleships.
Yes.
And then
yeah.
Usain Bolt was like the anomaly because he was 5'5".
Yeah.
And still, I mean, there'll be no one like him.
No.
But it's such an interesting thing because it's such an explosive. So yeah, your stride and your big gears and that kind of stuff. But if you literally are just a bundle of fast twitch, that's another thing because that's why like the best guys are black, right? Higher fast twitch muscle percentages.
True. Yeah.
So you're up against it actually.
Yeah. No, it's true. But if you ask me, I think for someone to break Bolt's record, it's going to have to be a similar type of freak. It'll have to be some 6'7", 6'6" dude. I don't see a short guy breaking that record. If you're short, you can
short people really just get there. They just their lives are just shit from the start. Right?
Not great. Yeah,
no, it's horrible.
No,
Horrible to be
but
short.
that's the thing. You know, like
as a guy, especially simply because also girls don't take a short guy seriously.
No, they don't.
Wow, zero hesitation on the answer to that one.
No,
no, I'm
her
a short
second.
girl. I know my real life. I always want something taller.
But like it really is something to appreciate over the years because you're Usain Bolt was great in so many ways, and he was so lovable in so many ways. He did so much for the Olympics and that kind of stuff. But to understand, like his records are going to go for so long now. And the reason I bring this up is because now they're talking about the enhanced games because now they want to have a different. They want to have a different take on performance. And this is a very long conversation, Gareth. This is actually a very long podcast by itself here. But I think the fact that the enhanced games are now going to actually give reference to just how great Bolt's time is, because their whole thing is that there's a guy, he's like, I know that I can beat Usain Bolt's time. It's like, okay.
That's marketing. That's not true. Yeah, I've seen the videos, and
that was my first thought.
I could talk for hours about the enhanced games because I also find it incredibly interesting, and I've also had a bit of a deep dive into
this is what Peter Thiel's backing at the moment.
Yes.
I just want to say, I like to claim things. I said this years ago. You were in the room, Ben. I've said for years, like get these super athletes, the guys who are on the way down, not the guys who are on the way up. Get the guys they've got nothing to lose. Pump them full of whatever kind of enhancement stuff. If they have a heart attack while beating a human record.
Yeah, but this isn't like sweeping up a city golf in the Cape Flats, though. There's so much that needs to go on in your frame.
A city golf.
It's not like that. No. It's like you need to find the guys on the app. You need to actually put Tiaan full of juice to even try get close to what that is, because it's so much. You need to have the mechanics.
What if Big Pharma came to you and they said, hey, listen, we see that you're fast. We see that you train hard. You're disciplined. You know what you're doing. You're on your way up. Here, if we give you these injections every day, I mean, you might have a heart attack. At the age of 30, you might be dead, but you could be the fastest human that ever lived.
Yeah, it's actually funny you mention that because the enhanced games have followed me on Instagram.
Oh,
and it is, it's an interesting prospect. What they're proposing to a lot of athletes is a swimmer in Australia that they've just signed to try and break the 50-meter freestyle world record, and they've offered him a lot of money to come out of retirement. I think he's been retired 1 year, and now they're offering him something ridiculous like $1.5 million to try and break the record.
But I don't think it's that really dirty backyard East Rand boxing gym kind of
Excuse me,
stuff.
sir? What? You okay?
Yes.
What?
I just think you said East Rand. Now Simpy was she started with the fist.
No, but I mean, it's not like jab this in your ass 5 days in a row and you'll be fast. It's like, I think that drugs, enhancements, and all these things are
science behind it.
There's a lot of exactly, and it's good enough that I think that enhanced games could open a few doors. It's like a lot of the things, and this is where I'd like to get your take on it, is that what would you need? Is it so much about the performance, or is it about the recovery enhancement that you need to actually become like this? Because everyone just thinks, get an extra 5 kilograms of muscle, become aggressive, and then you're going to run fast. But what do you think the mix is?
No, it's a great question, and you're right. A lot of people think it's just going to make you faster, but what it actually does more than anything is help you to recover more. And if you can recover more, you can train harder.
That's it.
So it's a recovery thing than anything else. This is what people that are on steroids and this sort of stuff. And I had a long chat with some of my athletic friends and stuff. We just spoke about this when we heard Peter Thiel was in the games, and we were trying to figure out, is this going to be a good thing or a bad thing for us? Because there's possible things that could happen here. Is the one thing that could happen is it could take all the guys who are currently in the sport and dirty, which is probably about half of them, to be honest, and take them out of the sport because there's more money at this other option and they can do it freely and safely. Or it's just going to mean that more people are going to start doping in our sport. And if they get caught and they get their 2-year ban, they're going to say, all right, see, I'm off to the enhanced games. So it could have one of two big impacts.
It's got a little bit of a perverse incentive to it, right?
Yeah.
So, okay, you mentioned recovery, and I think this is such a big deal because people often think, well, you and guys like you who are at the top of your game and fast and disciplined and all of those things, and in peak condition, that must be an amazing thing. But you have to keep it there, and the wear and tear is hectic. I mean, like your knees, your ankles, your pretty much your whole skeletal system. You've got a major maintenance thing to take care of there, right?
And especially the 100 meters is probably the worst event for wear and tear on the body in terms of that.
Why is that?
Because it's a literal max effort. You're pushing your nervous system, your muscles, everything to the max. So you have to think about the fact that your leg muscles are trying to contract or eccentrically contract and retract on and off the whole time very quickly, probably 4 times a second at a maximum effort. So it's like you go into the gym and you want to do a max rep deadlift, right? But you have to do that hundreds of times in 10 seconds. So
how long does it take you to come down from that after a race?
Quite tough. And I explain this to people. And a lot of the longer distance runners don't quite understand this because they obviously run at sub-maximal pace for a longer time. And then they think it's harder because they've been running further. But because we push ourselves so
Doesn't
much
matter.
to the
No
limit.
one watches the 800 meters. No one.
Unpopular opinion, but yeah, I tend to agree. But no, because we run at such high up to the limit, you can be fried. Your whole nervous system can be fried for a couple of days.
So what do you do after that? After a race, when you've crossed that finish line, what do? Do you lie down immediately?
So you try not to lie down immediately because that tends to look bad on camera. But as soon as you get back to your chair, your table, get some water, get some hydration, and take the rest of the day off, maybe even the next day. I mean, you look at someone like Usain Bolt, if you watch his documentary, and in fact, a lot of the great sprinters will talk about when they've run their personal bests, and that's when you're doing something your body's never done before, pushing it to a new limit. They tend to be fried for about a week. They'll take a week off afterwards.
Yeah, that's
and the way I describe it to people is you almost feel hungover the next day because your nervous system is just completely toast.
I would love to stay, but I got to go, unfortunately, guys.
All right, Ben. Ben's got to run.
It's been nice to meet you.
Don't worry. By the time you get to wherever you're going, Tiaan will already have been there for 15 minutes, and he's staying with us. So that just shows you. Now, I'm just amazed, and I'm sure you are too, Simpiwe, at the level of effort and dedication that this takes.
Yes.
I mean, to me, the food and the training and all of that stuff, you kind of expect that. But I didn't think of what Ben just brought up about the starting gun and the fact that there's stuff going on in your nervous system too. What's the best part and the worst part of doing what you do?
So the best part is I love it. It's my passion. It's what I love to do. I love everything that comes along with it. For me, I love the fact that I'm now good enough to a point where I can actually travel and see the world. I've competed all over the world, from Japan to Budapest to Europe, all over, and all these amazing places and amazing people that I've managed to meet is all thanks to the sport. So for that, I'm very grateful and I'm very thankful that I'm able to basically almost call it a career, and I'm able to do what I love. But what's hard about it is, the pressure. It comes with a lot of pressure. We're obviously chasing these qualifications and chasing these times and things. And when it gets to the point where it is at for me now, where you're in the top 50 in the world, it's make or break. It's tough. And when things don't go right, let's say you pull a hammy in training, and you're out for 3 weeks. When athletics is your whole life, and you can't then train for 3 weeks, you kind of sit there and go, what do I do now? It's like your life's almost over for a bit, because you don't have many hobbies. You obviously don't have a lot going on.
Well, you don't have time for anything else.
You don't have a lot of time for anything else. That's right. Yeah.
So this is also, I think, fascinating, Simpiwe, is that this guy can't go out and drink with his friends on a weekend. That'll set him back 6 months.
Yeah, no, it's tough. And the way I like to describe it is it's an obsession, really, more than anything else. To want to get to that top level, you have to be obsessed. You can't get there purely on talent. There needs to be a sort of aspect of, I'm going to,
single-mindedness,
dedicate my life to this. Yes, absolutely.
And do you get people who have said to you, listen, you're impossible to be around because you're no fun and you're boring? And
Sure, yeah. Luckily, most of my friends tend to be from the sporting scene. So these are the people I mix with. But normal, regular people, I have had, sometimes had trouble getting along with them because they just don't understand why you'd want to do something like this, especially athletics. It's not like rugby where it comes with a lot of fame and a lot of money. It's a more niche sport. So we don't.
By the way, they asked you to play rugby. Vera Swinston in the comments. Have they asked you to play rugby? For
Absolutely, yeah.
They have.
The New Zealand
you're fast, and that will be helpful in the
No,
like
they
a
have,
wing,
yeah.
for example.
If you Google my name, I'm pretty sure the first article that pops up, funny enough, is a one about the New Zealand Sevens team that were chasing me for a while. So they have asked me to play rugby, and it's something that I'm every now and then catching myself considering, because track and field just is so tough to stay in.
But if you hurt yourself in rugby,
yeah, that's tough.
Yeah.
But
injuries there are horrific.
I like to think maybe once I've done what I wanted to do in the scene, I've run the times I've wanted to run, and I've been to the Olympics, done all that sort of stuff. Maybe I can come back to rugby. I grew up playing.
How old are you now?
23.
Okay, so you've still got time.
Oh, heaps of time. I went to Polris. I grew up playing rugby, so it's definitely close to my heart. My dad was a very good rugby player in his time, so I definitely think that the ball skills and things are there, and obviously the speed's a big help, and not to mention being 6'5" and a big guy too. There's definitely a huge attraction, I think, for rugby teams. In that
So what is the next big meet that you're going to? What's the next big
Funny
one?
enough, I'm actually running tomorrow.
And you here?
Okay.
Yes, I'm here, of course.
So waste of your time. You could be training.
Sure.
No, we don't train much the day before. We try to just
All
take
right.
it easy to get ready.
good.
So this is perfect. But
Don't slip on your way out already.
No, I won't.
Please
I'll try and
don't.
safe.
God,
safe.
pressure's on us now.
But
We're in big shit if anything happens to him now.
You
So
guys
what
are
is
liable.
this? What is this race tomorrow?
This is just a little local meet. It's in Germiston, funny enough. So it's in Johannesburg, actually. It's called the
the
CGA
East
meet.
Rand.
There we go, Simpy, where you
So
the East
that's
Rand wins.
exciting.
Okay, and what are we looking to do in this one?
So I ran last weekend an opener, which I ran a decent time, 10:26. I was pretty happy with that as a first race of the season, dusting off the cobwebs and getting back into it. I'd also just come off of a hammy niggle. So to know now that the hammy's 100% and everything's good, I'm really looking to fire tomorrow. The goal for me is to at least run a 10-1 something. I'd be very happy to run a 10-1 something and then build on that from there. I'm feeling good. Training's been going well. If the conditions are good, good weather, nice and hot, plus we get a good win.
What
from
time
behind.
do you run?
I'm going to say I want there to be a 1 on the time. 10-1 something.
No.
at
I mean,
least.
what time of day?
Oh, what time of day? We run around 2 o'clock, I think.
In the afternoon.
Yes,
So
yeah.
tell me what happens before 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
Before 2 o'clock.
What time do you wake up?
Yeah.
What do you do?
I'll talk you through it.
Yeah. I mean, this is a whole process.
So obviously sleep, very, very important. So I'll go to bed quite early and then probably wake up around 8 or 8:30 as late as I can sleep in. I'll try and sleep in as late as I can. Running at 2 is a bit tricky because it means you can't have lunch because you don't want to eat too close to your competition. So I'll probably have a little nibble in the morning and then a late
What is a little
breakfast.
nibble?
Maybe like a banana, some yogurt and some berries, that sort of stuff.
And then you'll have a light breakfast when?
Light breakfast probably around 3 hours before.
Sure.
Try and get some carbs in, try and get ready, make sure I'm properly hydrated, have my water, have my electrolytes, and then we'll head down to the track. I'll try to be at the track about 2, maybe 1.5 hours before my race, just to make sure I can figure out where everything is. It's not a track I've been to before, so I just need to familiarize myself, see what the setup is. I need to get my numbers, etc. So better to be early than to be,
But
pushing
when
it.
you arrive in Germiston, I mean, I think probably this is the most exciting thing to happen in Germiston for like 100 years. I mean, really, Simpy, let's not be. I'm not going to be nasty to the East Rand because I know you'll climb over the table and hit me. That's how people in the East Rand are. But when you go to today, you're going to arrive there. You're going to be like, this is like if Beyonce arrives to, play a town in the Free State, right?
To some degree, yes, but to some degree, that's quite a bit of a fun aspect to it for me.
Yeah, because you're arriving and there are all these other. You're going to win, but now it's by how much?
Yes. No, I ran last week on Pilditch in Pretoria.
In Pretoria, right.
And rocking up to the stadium, obviously everyone can tell that I'm Afrikaans.
And did people pitch up just to see you?
No, friends and family, yes, but people don't actually know who I am. And for me, that's kind of a fun aspect, being a little bit of a dark horse. Because people think, oh, he's a South African. He
They
must
see
have
your name,
been
they
here
go
the whole
South
time.
African, and then they don't know
They
where the
don't
hell you've come
realise,
from.
no.
Just like if they're running with you, they don't know where the
So,
hell you've come from.
yeah.
Suddenly you passed them.
Yes, no.
That's
So
fun.
it was quite fun rocking up
cool,
and everyone
man.
being like, who the heck is this guy?
Yeah.
Where's he come from?
But for like these smaller races, do you give it like your all, or is it like just let me just see, I'm running on 80% today, and then
Yeah. No, absolutely. I have to give it my all. So you never know what the conditions are going to bring until you're in the race. So it would be a shame to not run at 100% and then you run a quick time because it turns out you got a good win from behind, then you didn't make optimal use of that. So try and give it 100%. every time.
Moonchild wants to know, are your legs insured?
Not quite. I have a friend back home who runs an insurance company, and we've sort of joked about it. Gerard's Insurance. They've joked about insuring my legs, but not yet. No. So if I pick up an injury, that's on me. I've got to fix it myself.
Sure.
Well, it's that 10 seconds of your day. And there are a couple of funny comments here about what do you do with the other 86,390 seconds in the day?
Lie down, relax.
But I mean, it's good. So Carl says in New Zealand, it's great because the rest of the day is for sheep farming. And, marathon runners are fucking around most of the time for hours at a time, but you get yours done quick.
Oh, I'm in and out, and then I've got plenty of time, and none of the sheep can outrun me, so I'll catch all of them. That's for sure.
Do you ever? I mean, you've obviously got sponsors and people who are interested in like having you as a commercial ambassador and all that kind of thing. Because fast people are among the coolest people. Yeah. Everybody's always trying to be strongest, fastest, richest, cleverest, whatever it is. But fastest is a damn good one.
It is a good one, and that's a bit of a yes and a no. In New Zealand, obviously, it's also quite a bit more of a niche sport than it is over here. I mean, here, Pillditch last weekend, for example, the 100 meters had 11 heats. There's a lot of people that are interested in athletics here. New Zealand's a small country. Rugby and cricket and hockey get most of the attention. So not so much in the athletics. I think the majority of the country probably don't actually know that I'm the fastest man in the country. And that's just, unfortunately, the reality of it, just not being a big sport over there.
But it's still, I mean, there are going to be international sponsors who are interested. Yeah. So what kind of sponsors do you have?
So I'm very thankful to be with New Balance, who I've been with now for about a year. And they take good care of me in terms of kit, clothing, and incentives and things. It's not a massive contract, but it's a good starter contract for someone like me who's just getting into the international scene. And it's one that I'm hoping to carry on building up. As you carry on being loyal to a brand and running quicker and quicker.
How long did your poor parents have to finance this? Because it's expensive, right? I mean, everybody thinks, well, athletics, you just have to buy the shoes.
Yes.
But it isn't like you have to travel everywhere, the training, the coaches, the meals, I mean, there's a ton of stuff that you have to think about that doesn't fall into the normal scope of people.
It's quite an expensive sport, funny enough, because you have to factor in international travel, which is very expensive. Yeah. And obviously all your recovery efforts, food, going to a sauna, ice bath, that sort of stuff.
You do the ice baths and saunas and things?
Yes, yeah. Coaching
How important
fees,
is that stuff?
Quite important. Like I was talking to, it was Ben earlier, is trying to explain that recovery is almost just as important as training.
He does the ice bath.
So I do a cold shower every morning. Yeah.
Really?
You guys would be best friends.
Yeah. You've done very well.
So and I have to give a huge, massive shout out to my parents, because if it wasn't for them, I just simply wouldn't be where I am now, because they did fund me for the majority of my career getting to where I am now. Thankfully, I'm now at a stage where I can kind of do it myself, and I have a couple sponsors here and there, not as many as I'd like, unfortunately, but it's getting there. But to get there, I was basically on my own, and that was my parents helping me, dad driving me to the track.
Sure.
Doing
That's why I'm saying give them credit.
Huge credit to my parents, absolutely, yeah.
Is it almost like a Superman Clark Kent type of thing? Can you have a normal day-to-day job and then this is what you do when your Superman outfit's on?
You can, up until a point. When you're at the sort of level I am now, that becomes incredibly tough. I'll talk you through an example.
You can't go and sell insurance during the day.
No.
So sit at a desk and then suddenly start running.
To give you an example of what a normal day of training and recovery would look like for me, I usually get up around 7, do my breakfast, do a bit of stretching. First sessions from around 9 to 12. That's normally a track session in the morning. Then I go home, cool down, have my lunch, fuel for my next session, which starts at 3 and runs till about 5:30. And then after that, I'm home again. And then, I'm doing my recovery stuff, which can be anywhere from 1 to 2 hours worth of stuff. And then it's basically dinner, and then it's good night, because you want to be in bed by around 9 o'clock to do it all again the next day. So it becomes like a full-time job.
Are you ever going to find a wife with that schedule? Right? I mean, would you be able to put up with that shit?
Yeah, it's a lot. Like I'll never get to see you.
But is it? I mean, having a relationship's impossible.
It is possible. What most of the top athletes tend to do is have relationships with other top athletes. Yes.
Is this why, like at the Olympics, there's a lot of
couples. A lot of couples.
They complain,
and that's why, because otherwise you wouldn't see each other. And there's also obviously the aspect of, if it's someone from outside of the sport or outside of all sports, there's just a big chance they wouldn't understand why you do what you do, why you spend so much time with it, why you're always away, why you're so obsessed with it. And so what you'll find is quite often top athletes will be with other top athletes, be it from the same sport or not. So it's tough. Yeah, it's definitely it's definitely tough. And New Zealand's a small country, so I've not found anything that side
No.
yet.
Well,
but,
don't worry. I mean, we're
I'm sure
holding
there's plenty
thumbs for you.
time.
No, I think this is just an amazing thing. You know, we try to talk to people who are very, very one or a number of things, but it strikes me that there are so few people who can dedicate. And how many years of your life would you say this has been your obsession?
So I've been doing track and field, running, jumping, all that sort of stuff.
Since you were 10.
Started when I was 10, yeah.
So 13 years of your life
13 years.
solidly.
But I wouldn't say it's solidly dedicated, and I'm a big advocate for this. If anyone listening out there has children that are talented and let them try everything. Don't specialize too early. I think it's good to enjoy yourself, try all the sports you want, have fun. I really only started taking it super seriously around age 19, which is quite late. Most of the guys tend to start taking it seriously at 16.
But you're still very young for 100 meters, right? I mean,
Yes.
your best years are probably still ahead of you. If you
for
can
sure.
if you can maintain the form and the kind of schedule that you have now.
Yeah, and this is another common misconception.
When is the
Yeah.
peak?
People tend to think that you peak around 23, which is where I am now, or earlier, 21 even. But if you go and look at most of the top guys, the top 20, for example, in the 100 meters, most of those guys are in their late 20s. You know, world champions from the previous years have been 28, 30. I mean, Justin Gatlin was 37 when he stopped running. So it's a sport you can do for
Quite a big
while.
window, actually.
Yes, yeah. Granted, he was on
So
a bit of juice, so maybe
yeah,
that
sure.
helped.
But where did the injuries come from?
Injuries come from more often than not overtraining, but also just trying to push your body to that limit where you're really riding the line of what your body's capable of. You'll quite often find that the guys will pick up injuries when they're in their best form, actually. It's not when you're in bad form and things are struggling. It's when you're in really tip-top shape that you tend to pull a hammy. And hammies tend to be the thing that go on sprinters. So it happens. It's happened to, you can ask any professional sprinter. I can guarantee they'll have pulled their hammy at least 2 or 3 times. It's a very common
How
thing.
long does it take to get back after that's happened?
So it depends how bad you've done it. If it's a full tear, you can be out for a year. If it's just a strain, maybe a month. So it's important to just stay focused and focus on rebuilding. And a lot of people tend to come out of them better than before because obviously adversity builds strength, but many people just give up when they get faced with these big battles. So
tell me about when, I mean, there's so many things about the sport that I want to know about because it's just 100 meters is the only one that I'm interested in. I couldn't care less about the other ones.
I'm here. You can ask me anything.
Yeah, so it's
I'll sit here all day and talk about it.
I mean, you spend your whole life looking at what other people do, how they start, if you go to the gym and you train too hard and you put on too much muscle, that's going to count against you.
Yes.
But you also can't have too little muscle, otherwise you don't power yourself fast enough.
So no, there definitely is a
what's the
balance.
again, the Goldilocks zone?
The sweet spot. So that'll be different for different athletes. So for me, I'm quite what they call a muscle-driven sprinter. I tend to rely a lot on raw explosive power to get me where I need to go. Some other guys in my training group, for example, it's a guy, Gift, who's run 994, brilliant, very talented athlete. He's on the other side of the spectrum. He's what we call a fascia-driven athlete. So he's one of those guys that he's just incredibly bouncy. You barely hear when he runs. It's just tick, 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 tick. He's just floating along the ground. Me, it sounds like I'm stomping because I'm really having to put the power down to get where I need to go. So I'm about 95 kilograms. For me, it's important to pick up a bit of muscle because it gives me a bit more momentum as well. But for the fascia-driven athletes, it's actually important to try and stay light because if they pick up muscle, they'll lose their natural gift, which is their bounce.
That's amazing. That's phenomenal, right?
Sure.
You wouldn't think any of this stuff.
Yeah.
And we just watch and then we cheer and then it's over in 10 seconds.
And we just like laugh at the last guy there and be like, oh, look at you. Just like.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, it is. It's an incredibly deep and complex sport.
So are you looking to do this for another 10 years?
Absolutely. If I can, if the body allows, if the finances allow, I do this for as long as I can. I've always told my parents, and my parents are very adamant that I get my degree first, which thankfully I have done now.
What's a degree in?
I got a degree in geosciences at the University of Canterbury. Yeah.
Oh, geosciences. Do you think you'd ever go into that as a...
Yeah, absolutely. It's a field that quite interests me. New Zealand's a good place for it too. We've got lots of earthquakes and volcanoes and things that side. But my degree's on the wall. It's framed. It's hanging there.
So they'll leave you alone now for a little bit.
Yes,
to pursue
I've told my parents I've only got my body for so long, capable to do this sort of stuff. My brain's not going anywhere. If anything, your brain only gets smarter as you grow older.
Yeah.
At least that's what my parents tell me.
I hope so.
So yeah, I can always come back to do something like
now,
that.
Now, Moonchild wants to know, do you think you could go into coaching when your sprinting career is over? Because that's a whole other area of specialization too, right? And the best coaches aren't necessarily, but it does help if they've had the experience of being the athlete.
Absolutely. It's something that I'd love to do. It's being that the sport is such a big part of my life and I'm so passionate about it. I'd love to give back in some sort of a way. And if I can coach, I'd love to. Even if I'm not a head coach, I'm just helping people out, showing them things. It's something that I would genuinely love to do one day if I've got the free time. Oftentimes, though, you'll find that the best athletes don't always make the best coaches. Could be more a case of do what I do, not do what I say.
Yeah, sure.
But no, I'd certainly love to get into it.
So, I mean, Carl makes a really interesting point here. It's crazy that in boxing, a tiny weight difference would put you in a different category to someone else. But in sprinting, everybody gets chucked into the same race.
Yes.
You mentioned the difference between you and this other guy who you run against sometimes. Do you think that there's a possibility? Because I mean, now we've got all kinds of controversial things coming up.
For sure.
These games where you're going to be able to use all the enhancement drugs. They're trans athletes where you've got guys competing against women, and that's very controversial. And it would make sense that maybe along the way things get categorized even further to the point where you're only running against people of the similar frame to you.
Yeah. So I don't think that's likely to happen, and I'll tell you why. I just think because athletics being a bit more of a niche sport and already not having the most interest of it, I think if they further complicate it, then because it's already quite a complicated sport. I mean, most of the public will look at it and not quite understand what's a good time, what's a good performance.
Yeah, no,
it's not like rugby where you can cheer for a team in Formula One where you can clearly see who's ahead and they're best. So I think they'll go through quite a bit of effort to not further complicate it and divide it into these subcategories. And I think that's part of the beauty of the sport as well, is the fact that you can look at any given 100-meter heat and there'll be an incredibly diverse range of athletes, tall guys, short guys, white guys, black guys, bit of everything, and it's all thrown into one pot and mixed together. So it's cool to see. It'd be like if Formula One just allowed the engineers to do whatever they wanted, and we could see, who comes up with the best car.
It does fascinate me that, for example, you said the wind when it's behind you can give you like a couple of split seconds advantage. What other things do we not know about that? The kit that you have to run in, your hair on your head.
Yes, yeah. A lot of people ask me this because they're like, surely if you shave your head, you
go faster.
Get a bit of time out there. So not so much from that. What makes more of a difference, other than the wind, would be the temperature. Because I'm not sure if you knew, but at warmer temperatures, your nerves can actually fire quicker. They conduct better. So you can move quicker in the heat. Plus, there's nothing worse than, for me, for example, being in New Zealand, getting to the track and it's 8 degrees.
Freezing.
And it takes you long to warm up. Your muscles feel like they're creaking. You have to wear a jacket and that sort of stuff. But the other big thing, and this is actually such a big thing that there's certain rules in place about this, is altitude. And the reason being, higher up, there's less air resistance. So you can run a little bit quicker. It's not a huge difference.
But is breathing harder then?
Yes and no. We don't really breathe much in 100 meters, being that it's over so quick. I know some guys don't breathe at all. So
what?
Yeah.
But it's 10 seconds, Gareth.
Yeah.
But come on, I mean, your amount of exertion, I would think you'd be hyperventilating, but you say some guys don't breathe at all in 100
Some
meters.
guys don't breathe. It would be if you look at the guys in the gym, for example, when they lift a heavy weight and they just exhale all the way up, kind of like it's kind of like that. So they're not breathing in, they're just kind of blowing it all out and keeping the core nice and tense, everything nice and tucked.
Sure.
So some guys don't breathe at all. I'm not actually sure what I do. I haven't actually taken the time to think. I think I might sneak in a couple of breaths towards the end of the race, but certainly for the first 60 meters where it's just raw exertion and you're just trying to keep pushing, I don't think.
So what is your time in kilometers per hour? If we had to figure out, like if I were driving a car at a speed that you can run, what speed is that?
So the best I've clocked is 42, just over 42 kilometers an hour.
I mean, I don't think I could make 10 and a half kilometers an hour.
Don't even look at me.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah, that's amazing.
So I think the fastest ever, Usain Bolt, I think he clocked 44.6. So 42s, it's getting there. I'm pretty happy with
really
that.
Fast.
The way we work that out is by looking at your 10-meter split. So I've split 10 meters in 0.86 seconds. And if you take the average speed, turn it into kilometers now, that's about 42
Jesus,
kilometers now.
that's absolutely phenomenal.
And do you like do you look forward to like competing in other races? I know that I watch like the relays. And yeah, I don't know what happens there, but it's always nice to see like people just passing on that baton.
No, the relay is an amazing thing, and I have to agree. I love to watch it. Unfortunately, as I've mentioned before, New Zealand being a small country,
you don't have enough people to run with you. So you guys can't enter a relay.
We could.
You could run twice.
I could. Yes, I could maybe run
200 rather than 100.
Maybe we just need 2 guys, but no, we just don't have the depth of sprinting that you guys have here.
It's amazing.
So that's a shame, and it's tough, and it is what it is. Obviously, relay is probably the easiest way to get to big events like the Olympics. I mean, you have countries like Poland and Denmark and all these countries going to
but then you have to share the glory with 4 with 3 others.
Like Ben was talking earlier about golfers going and getting the Olympic tattoo.
How dare they?
We feel a little bit the same when relay guys get them.
All right, the big question, because I can't believe we're almost out of time here. But how many Olympics between now and when you think you want to call it quits, and which one are you aiming for as your big crowning glory one? What sort of things are we looking to achieve there?
So there's 2 Olympics probably that I'm looking at, and that's the one this year in August, and then there's another one in 2028, which I believe is in Los Angeles. So the goal for me is obviously to be an Olympian. I'd love to be an Olympian.
Hell yes.
But it does come with.
And what are your realistic chances?
Good. I think my chance of qualifying is very, very good. I see myself qualifying, but it's whether or not my country will actually send me is another thing.
Wait, what? So you could qualify but not be sent?
Yes, that's correct. Yeah. So New Zealand's got
a
bit of strict standards when it comes to big competitions, majors, and that sort of stuff, in the sense that you can qualify and be good enough to get an invite from the Olympics, but by their secondary, more stricter standards, you might not meet those, and then they can choose.
But you're already the fastest guy in New Zealand.
Yes.
What else? What more do these assholes want?
What they tend to be.
I'll say it. You don't have to.
No, but it's true. I think New Zealand tends to ride off the fact that they're viewed as quite a powerhouse when it comes to global sport, and so they tend to only really want to send people to big things who they know are going to do well, which is a shame.
Are.
But yes, but in their eyes, doing well is placing in the top 16, for example. So they've got this top 16 blanket policy, which they throw across all sports, which makes no sense to me, because obviously being top 16 netball teams is one thing. Being top 16 fastest men in the world is completely different.
But I mean, one of the reasons that you're in New Zealand is so that you can do what you do.
Yes, yeah. And it's unfortunately one of the cons of having moved there is their strict standards. Countries like Australia and a lot of countries in Europe don't do that. If you're good enough to go, they try and send you. And I think that's a better mindset. In my mind, you should be looking for reasons to send people, not reasons to exclude people. So it's a shame it is the way it is.
Well, I'm glad we heard that.
Yeah, it's a big controversy at the moment in New Zealand.
Well, there are a couple of comments here. All the best for your future. We will look out for you. And all the best for the upcoming Olympics. It's this one, and then obviously 4 years from now.
Yes, that's correct. Yeah.
Where's this year's Olympics?
Paris.
Oh wow, that will be amazing.
No, it's an exciting journey, and I'm loving it all the way. And I'll be in South Africa doing races for another while. So if anyone wants to follow along with my progress,
well, we put up your social media too. Yeah.
So you can follow me on social media. Instagram's probably the best. It's at the Speedy Boy, boy being spelled BOI. So the Speedy Boy.
Underscore.
No underscore, just the Speedy
underscore.
Boy. Yeah.
Okay,
and then you can see what I'm up to day to day. I tend to post stories of training and a lot of behind the scenes stuff, as well as a lot of the travel. If you want to see what New Zealand looks like, I post a lot of stuff about that there. And if you want to see me run, that's a good place to do it. I've got quite a few videos over there.
Well, you can go to Germiston today.
Yes, tomorrow. Yeah, go to Germiston tomorrow and you can watch it live.
Down the road from you.
Yes.
It'll be over before you'll arrive.
By the time I'm like, ooh.
Set up a picnic basket, and she'll be sitting there chilling with her friends, and then we're gonna watch the race, and then the race is over.
It's over.
It's unbelievable. All right, Tiaan, I'm so glad we got to spend some time with you this morning.
Anytime, guys.
Well done on all the things you've already achieved, and I'm just blown away by anyone who's as disciplined and obsessed about winning in a particular discipline as this is. And congratulations to you. I think it's awesome.
Thank you.
Thanks
so
for
much.
coming in to see us, man.
No, I should be thanking you for the opportunity to come on here. Thank you so much.
Awesome.
It's been amazing.
Very good. All right, everybody. That's all we got time for this morning. Have an excellent Friday. We will see you